and speak on the issue in Nigeria, and especially the Sahel region that is
we are still waiting for you.
Thank you, Dr. Mia. My point was, in cognizance of the role that Nigeria continues to play in Community of Nations, we cannot be able to afford to lose Nigeria as we know it. And as the people of Africa, we continue standing with the people of Nigeria and continue standing with the very essence of our unity as brothers and sisters all over the world. We continue speaking for Nigeria, and we shall continue speaking for the peoples, indigenous peoples of Biafra, who would want to secede, who would want to be able to have their own republic, Dr. David Masanga. I do not understand why many years later the world does not listen to the cries of the people of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, who should be listened to and whose voice should be amplified, even when we do not think that it is convenient for us to do so. We need to be able to stand with the indigenous peoples of Biafra, and we need to be able to tell each other the truth as countries that love Nigeria, as countries that love peace in Africa. We should be able to grant the indigenous people of Biafra a voice to be able to amplify themselves, to be able to speak to the world. The world needs to come to the rescue of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. Dr. David Masanga, it pains me to realize that only a handful of people, media stations like yourself, who have given space to the indigenous people of Biafra to be able to hire their own issues and grievances. People and also media houses across Africa, Dr. David Masanga, continue hiding away from the issues that we continue facing from the indigenous people of Biafra. These are people who have continued to suffer under the FINRO arrangement that is in Nigeria today. We need to be able to restructure, and we need to give them a voice. It also saddens my heart to realize that if a person like Dr. David Masanga gives an opportunity to Biafrans to be able to speak, people that do not even pay him, they continue insulting and also continue thinking that Dr. David Masanga owns the whole world. He only owns media stations that have given them a space and a voice. And I would also ask the people of Biafra to respect Dr. David Masanga and his media houses. He has given you a voice in London. He has given you a voice in Germany. He's given you a voice across the nations of the world, and especially here at Punchline Africa. He has given you a voice to amplify your independence, to amplify a referendum, so that you can be able to determine your own future. You should be able to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and Dr. David Masanga the respect that he deserves. When you continue asking Dr. David Masanga to intervene on your affairs, the only thing he can do is to give you a voice, to help you and also bring us on board so that we can help you speak for yourselves, so that you can be able to grow and also have an opportunity to be able to be granted your own freedom and your own independence as the people, indigenous peoples of Biafra. There's nothing more Dr. David Masanga can do. He has invested millions of dollars to help his media stations run and also bring you to speed so that the world can be able to see what is happening in Nigeria. We need to be able to tell the world the truth, that Dr. David Masanga does not owe you anything else. He has done anything humanly possible. He has spoken, given his voice over the same. You can be able to go back to history, and history is going to be kind to him and his organizations, because he has been able to give you a voice. And we continue on the same vein like Dr. David Masanga, that you, the indigenous people of Biafra, should be granted a referendum. And if it is not a referendum, you secede completely from the FINRO arrangement of Nigeria that is there today. There should be a restructuring in Nigeria so that the people, indigenous peoples of Biafra, can have their own voice, and they can be able to speak in unison and be able to build their own Biafra Republic. Thank you, Dr. David Masanga, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much, Douglas, with those compliments. Thank you very much for saying so. We have done our best and continue to do our best. 6 years ago, I started this matter defending the Biafran people. I have never asked anybody in Biafra to come to my aid or to pay even 1 inch, 1 penny of airtime. I still continue to do so until I keep quiet when God calls me. But I will not surrender to Buhari's machinations and the crude methods of dealing with opposition with a country that is collapsing. I will not. As an African scholar, I will speak my mind out and stand for the truth. It will set me free one day. Professor Nyari, just a comment.
Dr. Masanga,
short.
As I've said, that Africa has got work to be done. We can't run away from it. I've quickly gone through what our comrade Onuja was trying to say, Mike. And I found to say that Nnamdi Kanu, his rights have been violated. Kenya is a signatory and has ratified African Charter. Nigeria has done the same. I'm happy that Kanu has advised his lawyers are working on it. So what we need to do is that Dr. Masanga, we need to team up. We can't allow these African dictators, Dr. Masanga, to take Africa as if they own Africa. They cannot. And I want to thank you sincerely that you have done Africa great, because Dr. Masanga, you have given us a voice. We are speaking things as they are. We can't allow the continent of Africa, Dr. Masanga, when I talk what African leaders have done to African people. Dr. Masanga, we cannot go to the West with all our education, Dr. Masanga, to be watchmen when the Africa has got all the resources, which is enough for all of us. We are not going to allow Buhari and his cohort, Dr. Masanga. On this one, we have to follow to the logical conclusion, and this work for in the continent of Africa must be done. I want to thank our fellow panelists. Thank you. Thank our comrade Douglas, Daniel. The continent of Africa was rescued by the young people. So when we are in the same hands of Dr. Masanga, comrades, we are not going to waver, neither to look back, but to soldier on. People who change their countries, who change their continents, who are not the mighty people, they are just individuals. Dr. Masanga, let us continue having this tone which has started roaring. It will continue gathering the momentum. And I know God is with us. We are going to succeed. We are going to succeed. Africa is rising. It will rise again and we'll make it. The spirit is there, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much, Professor Gerard Onyari, a conflict resolution mediator, speaker, inspirational speaker, a man who says it as it is, a man who studied international law, international mechanisms. Thank you very much. Daniel Wesonga, just 1 minute, under 1 minute, your parting shot. Then I come to our guest of tonight.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Masanga David. And of course, our clarion call and our banner still remains that President Muhammadu Buhari should exit power and give the rest of Nigeria, not only the Igbo people, the Biafrans, the freedom to govern their destiny, but the entire Nigeria, because his leadership has failed the people of Nigeria big time. And to the people of Biafra, I say unto them that Aluta continua. We have to continue with the struggle, even in the absence of the leader Nnamdi Kanu. They have to keep up the spirit. In the end, I believe salvation shall be able to come through their own struggle. It has been a very, very long struggle, and therefore there's no any point of backing out at this particular time. And to the international community, the African Union, and all the African member states and leaders, it is a time we stood up and raised our voices to ensure that the Nigerian regime releases the Biafran leader Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally, so that he can continue with whatever they are doing. They can always negotiate. We always have a very, very good platform which can be set so that they can be able to talk and be able to solve this kind of stalemate. But by arresting him and kidnapping him, they are only deteriorating the already destroyed relations between the Igbo people and the leadership of President Buhari. I submit.
Thank you very much, Daniel Sean Wesonga. World watchers, while Biafra, the Biafrans are being killed. The world watches. The AU is watching the slaughter in Enugu, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Lagos, all the southeastern states. There is bloodshed. My brother Mike Onocha from Dubai, under 2 to 3 minutes, bring us the message we should take to the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. First of all, I want to thank you so much. You are 1 in a million for giving us this platform to air our view. I see a similarity between you and our leader, Mazi Kanu. Mazi Kanu does not fight for anybody, anyone. That is one thing about, and you and him have the same similarity. Masanga, Biafrans will never forget. We don't forget those who help us when we are in need. All right, now my parting shot. I want to re-emphasize and I want to maintain, I want to reiterate that technically Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in Kenya. He is not in Nigeria. And you know what that means. It means that Nigeria has lost jurisdiction to try Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I believe in the rule of law. As a legal student, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has to go to the federal court Abuja to be tried, then that is a violation of his fundamental human rights. And we cannot allow that to happen. We must have what you call trial within trial. In order for us to do what? To talk about this extraordinary rendition, to talk about this violation of his right, because extraordinary rendition violates the Constitution and federal law. Its very purpose is to send people for interrogation to places where in the United States, the rule of law does not apply. And Nigeria, the rule of law does not apply. Because now, Nigeria and Britain, they have a treaty, extradition treaty. So what we are saying is, take Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back to Kenya. Let Kenya apologize and then send him back to the United Kingdom. Then Nigeria can now apply for extradition. Then they will go to court in the United Kingdom. If Nigeria make their case and they win, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be extradited back to Nigeria to stand whatever trial they want him to. That is called rule of law. This is not a Janjaweed kangaroo court. We must follow the rule of law. So that is what I am maintaining, and that is what I am still saying, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be taken back, of course, to Kenya, and from Kenya to United Kingdom, because Nigeria does not have jurisdiction. For you to try a case, you must have a jurisdiction. And if you don't have jurisdiction, if you've lost the jurisdiction, then you might as well forget about it. Now, people might hear me talking about Kenya. They might say, why are you mentioning Kenya? Now, in law, there is what we call conditio sine qua non. Now, what is conditio sine qua non? Conditio sine qua non is very simple. It means that without which not, conditio sine qua non, if Kenya did not compromise with Nigeria, this wouldn't have happened. That is why we keep on mentioning Kenya. They're more like an accomplice, and they need to work hard in order for them to claim their name. Because I pity the Kenyan people. They don't want this. This is not the government they voted for. So you cannot drag the good name of the Kenyan people into mud by committing such heinous crime against humanity. Now, finally, before I go, during the Civil War, there was economic blockade. There was media blockade on Biafra, and people were slaughtered in millions, and Britain was enjoying. Now, the difference now is this. We have youth of Biafra who will never give up. These people we are fighting with, their old men, and they will pass away very soon, and the youth will continue, and they will not stop until Biafra is restored. We will not stop until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is acquitted unconditionally because he is still in Kenya. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga, for this great opportunity and privilege. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike Onocha. Always keep a watch. Take our programs further. We are part and parcel of a struggle that we yearn that one day and one day alone, the people of Biafra will get the freedom they yearn for. The people of Biafra will be free, will be set free from the hands of Buhari, the regime that has gone down in history as a butcher regime, the butcher of Abuja. Buhari must be brought to accountability. If Africa is to move forward, why should we allow a nation of 250 million people to sink and sink and sink and sink every day? We see that happening. One of the points that you raised that shook me up to now is you said Nigeria is a kidnapping market is very lucrative in Nigeria. Kidnapping market is a market where people are kidnapping others for money. Today is a day for missing people. People who have missed worldwide. Some people wake up of their houses and they don't come back for years and years and years and forever. And when you say Nigeria is a lucrative place for kidnapping, you have even sent my blood very far. I don't know what we can say here, but it is very terrible. If this is the type of nation with 7 terrorist groups, 7 terrorist groups from Jania, Iswa, Isagies, AISGS, or Al-Qaeda Maghreb, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ESN, all this. My God, may someone come up and help Africa. And unfortunately, the African Union is gone. The Commonwealth will hold the Commonwealth Summit in London. Brother, just read my lips. I will be there. I'm a veteran of Commonwealth. I'm a member, senior member of the Commonwealth Journalists Association. The whole Commonwealth 54 camp. My identity's credentials are with me. I enter any conference on planet Earth as long as it is in Britain. I believe Buhari will come and I will face Buhari in that conference. Let him be prepared to answer my questions. Why he has allowed Nigeria to fall, to sink, to be mutilated, taken, eaten by terrorists. Why? Why he has killed many Biafrans. For every struggle there is hope. And for every hope there is always success. If you have hope, you will succeed. Brother Mike, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Success will knock on the door. You can imagine some of us have fought for 37 years. But still, the things that we said are the things that the new people who are coming in the struggle, what they are saying, and which they supported themselves. Now they turn around and they say, oh, Matanga said was right. But here we are, we find ourselves at the cul-de-sac, what the French call a cul-de-sac. The world seemed to come to a halt. Africa needs 400 million doses. We are still talking of elections. We need 400 million doses, Mr. Kirimi. But we are still talking of grabbing power in 2022 in Kenya, when we have not even vaccinated more than 2 million people fully. Are we mad? What bewitched Africa? Thank you very much. Chinawa Achebe, in his book, The Things Fall Apart, which was song I liked so much, on page 53, he said, perhaps you have been away for too long. Obierika was telling Okonko that perhaps you have been away for too long. The Umofia clan has changed. The white man has brought a bicycle that drinks milk. And guess what followed the sentence, Kirimi? Things have fallen apart. On that note, I end it that way. I know, Daniel, you are smiling behind there, and Kirimi, look at that page. I've never forgotten. You know, I did my O levels in 1974. Can you believe that? I believe none of you here were born yet. 1994. Douglas. And the rest. I read that book and I passed English literature with a distinction #2. And it was one of the most interesting books that I wanted to have. Even today in my home in London, I have 2 books, two copies. Somebody snatched one, but I kept that one. I read in 19 because there have been new versions. But Chinawa Achebe said, things have fallen apart. A bicycle drinks milk, white milk. You know what white milk was? Kirimi, do you know what white milk was? White milk is oil. If you mix oil with, if the car bursts the gasket and the water goes into the oil engine, what comes out is white. So, why are people abusing human rights? Why are people being killed? Why is there Boko Haram? Why is there Al-Shabaab? Why is there a war in northern Mozambique? Today, from Cairo to Cape Town, Dar es Salaam to Lagos, Lagos to Abuja, Abuja to Port Harcourt, Gabon. Today, from Maputo to Rwanda, Kinshasa, Accra, Tripoli. What is happening in Tripoli makes Africa look a very bad continent. My show this morning is a simple show. I'm going to see what we can do for Africa. I have stood firm for the last 5 years. I've stood firm on this television station, stood by the people of Biafra. I am not going to be intimidated, but I will ask the questions that are supposed to be asked. General Buhari has not answered my questions for the last 5 good years. I have sent messages for them to answer why people in that great nation of Africa, with a population of 220 million people, why are people dying? Why are human rights abuses taking place? Why are tribes, the Fulani killing the Ipob, Christians killing being killed by Islamists. Boko Haram taking people, killing people day and night, abducting young girls who should be in school. I want General Buhari. I am also a general. I left the army with a rank lower than yours, but in the rank of a brigadier general by rebel activities that I've conducted worldwide to struggle, the struggle for my country. We shook hands and we left. But I want to ask a question. Why have you left Nigeria to collapse an economic big hub for the people of Africa? We look at you with the huge population, and you are there as a president, claiming to be a president, that you have no moral authority. You promised people in your first term, General Buhari, that you will finish Boko Haram in 100 days. Are you part of Boko Haram? These are the questions that I want to put across. Our television station wants people to understand why Nigeria is collapsing, why Nigeria is disintegrating. Is there a state called Nigeria anymore? Because I don't see it. It has fallen to bandits, hostage takers, kidnappers, Boko Haram, people coming, corruption, people coming in the southeast killing people. The people of Onitsha. I have a friend in Onitsha who always documents everything. And by the way, Buhari, I'm also an international lawyer. I'm waiting for Fatou Bensouda to leave the scene. If they have spared you there, I'm going to take you there. I have a right as a citizen, as a member of the United Nations, as a member of International Criminal Court. My country has signed a signatory to ICC. I'll deliver you there. It doesn't need a Nigerian to deliver you in the ICC. So take notes on this show and understand we are not joking. You might joke with Nigerians whom you cut their limbs off every day. But some of us are going to take serious international channels to make sure that you land in, whether you wait as a president today or a former president, you will be answerable to the atrocities that you have committed against the people of Nigeria and the Biafran people. Thank you very much. My guest today in the studio, whom I'm interviewing, this is the general headquarters of Punchline Africa Television. We want to take the opportunity to thank the government of Republic of Kenya, the East African community, the African continent, for listening to our plea, giving us the freedom to discuss issues that destroy Africa. We have no regrets for stating statements truthfully what is going on in Africa. The truth is that there is no Nigeria anymore. And if Africans are waiting for Nigeria, and they go to AU and they say, we have Nigeria, we have Buhari, maybe we have Buhari 6.1 feet, but we don't have Nigeria. I have no good words. His Excellency, President Buhari, has to pull up his socks. We are crying for the Nigerians, for the state of Nigeria. It is collapsing. The killings, the murder, the rape, the defilement, the destruction of property, the slaughter of youth, because of one thing they ask for, freedom to express themselves, is what makes me very upset. But let me cool down and I come to my guest. My guest today is Mr. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. Welcome to the show, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you for having me on your wonderful program today. It's an honor I've been looking forward to for a very long time. For very many years we've been watching you, and I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you very much. Today we are honored, and we want to start off by giving you a chance for us to know you, because many of my people in Kenya, and as you are aware, Kenya is the chairperson of Africa Peace Security Council. The authorities in this country, Kenya, are watching. They want to know the difficulties that you have. Two, Kenya also has a lot of Nigerian refugees who have come to Kenya to apply for asylum, especially from the southeast of the Biafran area. They are here, and we should not keep quiet and tell lies. There are many here. They want to know in East Africa, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Zimbabwe. I've found very many of them. Zimbabwe has given them a lot of asylum. We want to know you. Who are you, sir?
I am Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. I represent every aspiration and hope that over 70 million people harbor all over the world. Our job is to restore Biafra in peace and not in pieces by seeking a very simple route via a UN-supervised referendum or plebiscite, as the case may be. We are here to restore our land to the way it was before the white man came. What we are doing is nothing against Nigeria per se. What we are trying to say is Nigeria as presently constituted is not working, and we are doing all we can to try to raise the levels of human development, of our understanding, education, health sector, the economy, and all the rest of it. If we continue to remain in Nigeria, not just are we going to suffer, but the whole continent of Africa is going to suffer as a result, as a consequence of the ineptitude, the corruption, the backwardness, the retrogressive mindset of the people who are presently in charge of that very place. Initially, most people tend to see us as not being Pan-African enough. I am a Pan-Africanist. I believe in the unity of the African states. My preference will be for Africa to have one nation, one government, one people, even one language if it is possible. I am a subscriber to the very fine influence of Kiswahili amongst the people of East Africa. And I wouldn't mind if that were to be the lingua franca for sub-Saharan Africa. I don't mind at all. But we must face reality and we must face facts. We as Africans are tribal by nature. We are ethnic by nature. That is why every Christmas, every Easter, every celebration that we have, we go back to where we come from. We go to our villages. We go to our town. That is who we are, and we're not going to deny that. What we are trying to do is to reassert who we are before the white man came and destroyed every vestige of honor and dignity that we once had. And in Biafra, we are going to restore that. And from Biafra, the rest of Black Africa will also be free. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for explaining the position of Pan-Africanism. Because critics talk about, as much as we are Pan-African station, we always talk about Pan-African unity. But I've argued my case before the AU, and they said, you cannot talk of Pan-African unity. One part of Africa is bleeding. How that cannot be? In Nigeria, there's one part bleeding. In Gabon, Cameroon, there's one part bleeding. We can't talk about Pan-African and leave people who are bleeding. I am happy that you have touched the word Pan-Africanism. Many Africans, including your former leaders, have said Nigeria needs rearrangement. I picked something from you. I want to see this rearrangement. What is this? Babangida. Former President Babangida said Nigeria needs a rearrangement. because it can't work anymore. The marriage cannot work. It is true that the marriage cannot work. It is true that the people, the Ipob, are discriminated. When they go to Abuja, they are told go home. Where yet the home is Nigeria. Abuja is Nigeria. I've done investigative work undercover, and I've discovered all these things. I'm not being told by you, but I've been with my Nigerian people who have actually ended up being discriminated in their own country. So given this scenario, I want to find out from you, from what perspective do you think Africa should come in, the whole of Africa should come in to bring the plight of the Biafran people, the indigenous people, whom you have been fighting for? How do we come in as Pan-Africans?
How you can come in is by doing what very courageous leaders in Africa did in relation to the case of South Sudan. Because in the case of Nigeria, the center can no longer hold. Everyone knows, the whole world is aware of the fact that we are ideologically, psychologically, culturally, religiously, and socially diverse. There is no meeting point. It's a very good thing that you talked about East Africa, for instance. In East Africa, there is some semblance of cohesion because Kiswahili is the lingua franca. Perhaps somebody from Uganda may understand somebody, or should I say some people from Tanzania. Some Tanzanians may be able to understand somebody, let's say, from Rwanda, because they speak the same language, they have the same understanding. So that is the basis for building something called a national cohesion. In the case of Nigeria, that is conspicuously absent. It doesn't exist. Now, the fact of the matter is this. Africa, the way it is presently set up and constituted, are merely colonial constructs, where you have people coexisting happily together. Perhaps they are very fortunate. In the case of West Africa and Nigeria in particular, I have nothing, and I repeat, nothing in common with your average Fulani person. I have more things in common with even a white British person than I do with a Fulani person. I mean, we have nothing in common. Their value system is markedly different from ours. We cannot see eye to eye. I give a very simple example. The recent case of the banning of the movement of cattle on foot in the southern part of Nigeria, for instance. In the north, that is a normal thing for them to have. But in the south, it is absolutely strange having people walking around your neighborhood with AK-47. At the slightest provocation, they kill people. That type of culture is alien to those of us from the south. And that's what we are trying to say. And it's a very good thing that we are not alone in seeking for a distinct, or should I say, separate identity. Our Oduduwa, our Yoruba brothers are also asking for the same thing, because they too have come to the realization that this Nigeria is unworkable. The Middle Belt is doing the same thing. It is not born out of hatred for anybody. That is the mistake that people keep making all the time. Most analysts and, should I say, news journalists tend to think that somehow we hate Nigeria. Of course, that is not the case. What we deplore, what we detest and cannot live with is the level of hypocrisy, the level of ethnic jingoism going on, being, of course, perpetrated by the Fulani people. And this is what I want all Pan-Africans to be able to see. That Biafra will be there piloting and moving the affairs of Africa forward. Because we have said it repeatedly, without Biafra standing on its own, the rest of Africa will continue to suffer and to flounder. And for us to be able to get to where we are supposed to be to, there has to be a very comprehensive and holistic rearrangement of the present state of Nigeria. You are well aware. I ask you to go and read at the comments and statements coming from Katina Lang, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, for the
has been nagging both the locals, Africans on the continent, and the question of external darker forces. You have just mentioned people who are running the show, the oil companies. For example, they are watching. They have never raised anything on BBC, CNN, or international agencies. We don't hear, apart from we struggling as Africans ourselves. These agencies are not helping to say there are human rights abuses in Nigeria. For example, Nigeria, the American embassy closed its consulate in Abuja because of the huge numbers of people applying for asylum to go to the United States. But American embassy did not go far, and the American government did not go far to condemn and put sanctions on Buhari for failing to contain the malaise that has killed Nigeria. 2, if you look at the Total Oil, Shell BP, they have taken part in extraction of minerals, oil, and so on and so forth. They are doing it when they are seeing human rights abuses in southeast of Nigeria. What do you say about that?
It is because we allowed them to. Total is an oil company, is a private concern. Of course, it's a huge corporation, we know that. The same goes for Shell, for BP, for Halliburton, for ExxonMobil, and all the rest of them. They operate the way they like in Africa because we've allowed them to. I was in Texas a few months ago. Most of these oil companies are there. But the type of environmental degradation and damage that we're witnessing in Biafra land do not obtain in Texas, because there they have laws governing their operation, how they exploit, how they, extract and distribute this very vital natural resource. But because Nigeria, I think it's a cliche that Nigeria is corrupt. What people don't understand is the depth of the damaging effect of corruption that you have. And I'll give a very simple example. We cannot expect white people to have regard for us when we do not have regard for ourselves. That can never ever happen. Do you know that in Nigeria they import fuel? Are you aware that Nigeria imports petrol?
Yes, I've seen the queue. I've seen the queue at the petrol station. Yes.
Do you know that Nigeria imports kerosene? Oh. They have 5 viable state-of-the-art refineries. Not one of them is functioning, not one single one. When white people are operating in such an environment, seeing how foolish and how stupid the entire country is in terms of their priorities, how do you then expect them to have respect for you or have regard for you? They can go into our land, they can pollute it. Katrina Lang, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, can be running the show all she likes, because there seems to be a recognition that these people do not reason like human beings. That is the fact. That is the fact. Tell me what an ambassador will be doing, crisscrossing the entire nation, telling them how to run their security architecture, telling them who to kill and who to spare. Our lawyer had the mom killed 2 days ago. Barrister Okorafor, the mother was assassinated only 2 days ago. All because he was exposing what the army is doing to innocent people. That tells you all you need to know about Nigeria. Nigeria is an albatross around the neck of Africa. Nigeria is the only country in Africa actually dragging Black Africa backwards because of their ineptitude, because of their criminal mindset, and because of the drive of the Fulani to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. That is the problem. There is nothing wrong with Islam, don't get me wrong. There are some very wrong interpretations of the religion of Muhammad that the Fulanis are using as the driving factor in their push to take over the land belonging to indigenous people all across Nigeria. They've done the same thing to a relative extent in the Middle Belt. They took a chunk of Yoruba land in Ilorin, where they have an emirate today. The same thing they're trying to do in our land, and we said no to it. And the whole world is there. The US mission is in Nigeria. The UK is in Nigeria. EU is in Nigeria. The UN is in Nigeria. And there is wholesale murder and slaughter of people going on in Biafra as I speak to you right now. this very minute. The same people they claim they know where Boko Haram is from where they launched the attack. The same country is openly supporting ISIS in West Africa. Go to the newspaper pages yesterday, you will see it there. Nigeria government actually supporting ISIS to take over the terror franchise from Boko Haram. They're not hiding it anymore. There's a terrorist who is there as a minister. Now tell me which country in the world will allow a terror sympathizer to be a minister of state only in Nigeria? How can such a country be allowed to exist? Because of what some corrupt people are gaining in America. Because of what some corrupt individuals are gaining from Europe. Because of the corrupt tendencies of Catherine Lang, who is the UK High Commissioner to Nigeria. That is what is happening to us. And because we have no reason up to challenge this very orthodoxy of repression and oppression, that is why that woman keeps gallivanting all over the place, deciding who should live and who should be killed. It is not the fault of Total, not the fault of Shell, not the fault of Mobil. We allowed them, we created the environment to allow them to be so corrupt that now they're controlling our lives. And that is what Biafra will be done. And I did not say that Biafra will stop the business of Total. I never said I will not do business with Shell. No, not at all. But it has to be business between two human beings, not a set of human beings and one set of animals. Thank you very much for that question. Let me come back to the question of referendum. You parted the ways, and most of us have parted the ways with Buhari about the referendum. The people of Biafra have said, and the entire Nigeria, not only Biafra, most people that I meet or whom I've met, including Obasanjo, several times I've confronted Obasanjo. By the way, me and Obasanjo, we can't sit on the table for 2 minutes without exchanging tables because I can't manage. I have asked, and Obasanjo asked, why don't you give a referendum? The marriage is broken. The marriage is gone. The marriage is not worth it. Do you think the referendum issue now can help to stabilize Nigeria? And if so, when and how can African Union, the Commonwealth, the European Union, and the UN can help to make sure that this referendum is put in place? The only way to go is a referendum, because I am a Democrat at heart. I believe that the democratic will of the people must be expressed at all times, and that is the basic governing principle of any viable society. I am an advocate of referendum, and the sooner they conduct it, the better. It's been muted in the past through their so-called rejigging of their constitution, through their so-called Sovereign National Conference, which has been coming on and off from time to time. Any new arrangement that seeks to keep Nigeria together as one must be subject to the will of the people. So either way, a referendum is going to come anyway. It may be delayed, but it is ultimately going to come. Now, one thing you must understand is this. There are very corrupt countries around the world. Maybe on the surface of it, they are not corrupt. But they have very corrupt operators that will prefer Nigeria to remain in the very hopeless state that it is in at the moment. Nigeria is in a very hopeless state. A lot of people are making money by virtue of the corrupt nature of Nigeria. Do you know that Shell BP can sell 1 million barrels of crude oil in a day and only report that they only sold 100? Do you know there is no meter? Where the crude oil is being loaded onto the tankers at the terminal in Biafra land where I come from, there is no meter. You can take as much as you like and declare whatever you like. These interests want to keep Nigeria one. Every ambassador to Nigeria gets a welcome handshake of $1 million. Once you're posted to Nigeria from a well-to-do country, so to speak, the ambassador is bribed immediately there and then. That is how you start your work. You will not believe what I'm about to tell you. Do you know that the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria organized, or should I say convinced the Biden administration to allow the U.S. military to come for an exercise in the Gulf of Guinea in order to checkmate Biafra and Ambazonia, freedom fighters? The same people did not go to the north. where they have Boko Haram, where they have ISIS, where they have Ansaru, where they have Fulani headsmen terrorists. People tormenting, killing, raping, kidnapping, and pillaging on every blessed day they do this. Do you know that it is not the recommendation of the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria that U.S. must commit their troops to the north? But they are in the Gulf of Guinea, exercising, saying that we dare to fight crime both on land and on sea. But there is no crime going on. The places where the crimes are going on are all in the Sharia north. And I want to bring you back to this idea of referendum once again. Do you know that the Northerners, the Fulani people, they agitated for Sharia in the 12 northern Fulani-controlled states of Nigeria, excluding Middle Belt? Do you know that your good friend, as you are saying, Obasanjo, gave it to them?
It's not my
no referendum. They're your good friend because I hate him more than you do.
Okay.
The man is a joke. Let me tell you this. Do you know that the Fulanis campaigned, including Buhari, of course, the late one who is in Saudi Arabia somewhere in a shallow grave? Do you know that these people campaigned for Sharia to be introduced in Fulani-controlled northern states? I think about 12 or 13 states. There was no hoo-ha. Nobody opposed them. In other words, the Fulanis themselves have divided Nigeria into two by virtue of their insistence on having Sharia. That is why today the Chief Justice of Nigeria is a Sharia lawyer, not a secular lawyer, not a secular judge, a Sharia court judge elevated to the position of the Chief Justice of a secular federation. Now you tell me.
Your Excellency, Nnamdi Kanu, is this the man, the Chief Justice, who said his papers were eaten by termites?
That's correct, yes. It's him.
Oh my God.
That's the type of
yes, continue.
It's him. He is a Sharia court. He's an alkali in a Sharia court. But today, he is the Chief Justice of a secular state practicing common law. How do you expect us to accept such nonsense? Who in their right mind will live under such condition? Who in their right mind will? That is what we want Africans to understand. It's not that we hate anybody. We are Pan-Africanists. I want one Africa. I want one united Africa. But an Africa found on the basis of justice, fairness, equity, and progress. Not one found on retrogression, on backwardness, on corruption, on stealing, and on looting. That tells you all you need to know about Nigeria. Can you tell me why they're deploying troops to Biafra at the moment? Killing people every blessed day. The same people drafting or asking their troops to be deployed to Biafra land, they know where Boko Haram are. They know where to find ISIS in the north. But they will not go and confront them. It's only to come to the east to kill people because we are peaceful. Such injustice we are no longer prepared to tolerate. And that is why, referendum or no referendum, we are going. We are going. It's as simple as that.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Nnamdi Kanu. Let me bring you back to 1966. Several constitutions had been negotiated, but none addressed the fundamental question of social justice differences, political tensions, economic marginalization, competition, ethnic imbalances. In all this, from 1966, several constitutions have been brought. People started fighting. In 67, the war ended. Since then, military took power. Obasanjo, Babangida, another one who died, and another one, several of them. The changes, nobody has been mentioning what ails Nigeria. At the center of it, it looks like you are mentioning it now. I can see, any observer on Nigeria can see your plight, like just as we can see the plight of many African countries. When you talk of 13 states having Sharia law, a Chief Justice who says his papers were eaten by termites becomes the Chief Justice based on Sharia law and using Commonwealth common law. Now, should the changes be made and should the adjustment be made, is there any hope that Nigeria remains alone? This is a question from a very senior head of state in Africa. He has asked me just now, I should put it to you. It's from southern part of Africa. Can Nigeria remain together in case these are addressed? Yes, sir.
It is up to the people of Nigeria to decide if they want to be together or not. During a referendum or a plebiscite, I'm only entitled to just one vote. Only one vote. It is now left for the people to decide what to do. That is why we said to Nigeria, we don't want to break away unilaterally. We want it to be done with the consent of the people. And during the early life of this APC terrorist regime in Nigeria, they did actually mute the idea. They discussed it among themselves that whatever new arrangement is being proposed must be subject to the will of the people. I will say to that question, let the people decide. Anything they decide, I'll go with it. Anything that people come together to decide, this is what we want to do, I will submit myself to, because I am a Democrat. What I'm trying to say is that the present condition of Nigeria is no longer tenable. It is no longer tenable. It cannot be tolerated any longer. And that's why we're doing what we can legally and legitimately to bring it to an end.
Okay. Let's come to African Union. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the chairperson of Africa, or Kenya is the chairperson of African Union Peace Security Council. He is the chairperson of all peace and security arrangement in Africa. He is also a member of United Nations Security Council, representing Sub-Saharan Africa. He has huge numbers of Nigerians seeking asylum every day in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. What do you want him to hear? What do you want him to hear now? What message do you give to them, to the AU, that the situation is not as they think, so that people can wake up and help you?
What I want President Uhuru Kenyatta to understand is this. Contrary to all the fallacious lies and misinformation coming from Nigeria, we are not against African unity. We want Africa to prosper. And what is happening, from what you've said, what they're experiencing now in Kenya and in other East African countries in terms of the huge numbers of people seeking refugee status and asylum, is indicative of the decay and the death that Nigeria is going through at the moment. And unless they step in now to do the right thing, believe you me, they will get millions upon millions of people asking for asylum in their countries in no distant future. Let it not be said that the disintegration of Nigeria will somehow bring an end to Africa's cohesion and unity. It is a lie. It's a lie. It will strengthen it. Nigeria is the country dragging Africa backwards, being purportedly the most populous nation, black nation in the world, with vast reserves of oil and gas in my land in Biafra. A lot has been expected of Nigeria over the years, but each time they have failed. If you go to a place like Rwanda that I'm sure you have been to, if you go to Kigali and see what Paul Kagame has been able to do with meager resources that they have, I am sure the same transformation is taking place all across Ethiopia, taking place all across Kenya. You can see viability of economic life and prospect. None of that exists in Nigeria. They only sell crude oil and they import everything, including refined petrol as well. What I want African leaders to understand today is this, that Nigeria is the problem of Africa. If you terminate Nigeria, it's like a cancer growing somewhere on the body of Africa. Once you get rid of Nigeria, believe you me, Africa will spring to life. Let them not be deceived. Don't allow yourselves to be deceived to think that we need this huge country with huge population and vast natural resources to be relevant in the world, on the world stage. That is a lie. Because the size of Nigeria, the way it is today, was predetermined by our colonial masters. Britain said, we want to use Nigeria to influence every other country in Africa. That was their game plan. Britain wanted to control Africa through Nigeria. It's there in the official documents. And I'm saying to Africans today, don't allow that to happen. As you say, the level of Fulani mediocrity in Nigeria has made it almost impossible. The best way for us to go is for Africans to understand that Nigeria is a tumor, a cancerous tumor, very dangerous one. Cut it out and Africa will be free.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want you to take a slow pace now. I want to come to ask a question that has happened to me also. We seem to be swimming in the same field. That's why you see we are the same. The loss of your parents. You did not attend. I also did not attend the death of my father. I have never buried him. I am in the same category like you. I want us to go slow and say, you were not allowed to attend to bury your parents. How did you handle this? I know I am slightly older than you in years. I have handled.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Are you sure?
I'm 65.
My goodness, you look very young.
Yes, I'm 65. And
that's very good.
I have, when I lost my parents, I was also in exile in Britain, and I could not bury them. How did you yourself handle this matter, and how do you encourage others? There are millions of refugees on the African continent, in South Sudan. Some of them don't know where their parents are. But the people have gone to make political leadership, but they have forgotten accountability. That's why South Sudan peace process is collapsing, because there's no accountability. So how did you handle that? And did it encourage you and give you resolve to keep pushing for a better Nigeria or a better Biafra? Please.
It kept me pushing for a better society for everybody. Everybody, not just within Biafra or within the wider Nigeria, but across Africa as a whole. Because what concerns one black person actually should concern another black person as well. I put my parents' murder by the Nigerian state into context. The only thing that matters to me is the freedom for Biafra, of which I am prepared to pay whatever price that God requires of me to pay in order to ensure that Biafrans are set free. That was how I managed to, should I say, compartmentalize that very grief at that moment in time. And I might also add that my mother-in-law is dead as a result of the same thing. 2 days ago, one of our lead attorneys, they actually threw a hand grenade into the mother's car and killed her and burnt her body only 2 days ago. I see these things as necessary sacrifice that we must go through in order to restore Biafra, that is essentially the kingdom of God upon the face of this very earth. For that, we are prepared to pay whatever price that we are called upon to pay to ensure that the people of Biafra and every other ethnic group being oppressed in Nigeria and wider Africa is set free. That's my mindset. And that was how I dealt with it. As horrible as it was that I couldn't attend as the first child and as the first son, my father's burial, my mother's burial, but I see them as being very essential sacrifices that one has to make in order to ensure that his people are set free.
Thank you very much. I am also the first son, so maybe that's why I started fighting for the Biafran people. let me come back, take you back to the question of Boko Haram.
Yes.
You mentioned one point which is very clear. Security agencies across Africa would like to know what ails. Why is Buhari? By the way, is Buhari, or we have a problem here? Because a human being should understand that people are dying. The army, Nigeria has a huge army. Is the army a coward? Are they cowards? Do they protect who? Are they protecting the territory of Nigeria? How does the army allow people to come and kidnap citizens, take them, then in piecemeal release them 2, 3, 4 back? Who are these? Is it an internal collaboration between the army, Buhari, and his generals? Who is commanding this army? Surely the army that cannot even rescue 5 students from girls who have been abducted. What type of army is this? Is there a bigger thing than Boko Haram? I have been requested by another reader from Tanzania to say, why is this Boko Haram menace never cleared? Why is Nigeria not asking for external help to come in to help them? Is it because they want it themselves? Please shed some light to our viewers.
I want Africans to understand one fact today. The entire terror architecture in Nigeria is hinged on the political aspirations and hegemonic tendencies of only one tribe, the Fulani. We have no issues with the Hausa, the Bachama people, and all the rest of them. It is the Fulani. And this game plan has been in existence for a very, very long time, nearly 200 years ago. And they must execute it. I want Africans to understand that only the Fulani tribe alone financed and sponsored almost 6 terror groups exclusively by themselves. Before Buhari came into power in 2015, he said, at the height of the insurgency, an attack against Boko Haram is an attack against the North. I will leave that to one side. I want your viewers to understand something today, which previously maybe they may not have been aware of. Do you know that Boko Haram nominated Buhari as their chief negotiator in 2014-2015? Are people aware of that at all? Do you know that these same people only a few years ago said that these murderers and these rapists, they are our misguided brothers? Do you know that their so-called Sheikh Gumi, who happens to be very close to the presidency, I need you to understand this very clearly, the one negotiating with the bandits, are you aware that their recommendation is for ISIS and Boko Haram to merge together, that they can come south? I want these points to be noted by your viewers all over the world. So when you see these people, you ask them these questions. Do you also know that the leader of the dreaded ISIS in West Africa province, ISWAP, his name is Al-Banawi. Al-Banawi is the son of Yusuf Mohammed, the founder of Boko Haram. Do you know that this man was arrested around about the same time that I was in detention in 2015? Do you know he was released without trial on the orders of the presidency of Nigeria? Do you know that the 4th largest terror group in the world, the Fulani headsmen, which the whole world knows, the 4th largest terror group in the world, the Amiyetiala? Do you know that the presidential spokesman came out and said live on national television that these terrorists are legitimate stakeholders in the government, in the governance of Nigeria? Are you aware of that? Do you know that despite telling the whole world that these murderers and these killers are from the Sahel, they are not Nigerian Fulanis? Do you know they're forcing us today to give them our land so they can settle in perpetuity. Are you aware of that? Let me also shock you this morning. From the office of the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria, a letter came out titled Terror Elements to Expand Frontiers of Attack. In this very letter, signed on behalf of the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria, of which Katona Lang and the US Ambassador are both aware. Here, they mentioned the specific places where they claim the leaders of Boko Haram are hiding. Understand this? I want the world to know that this Fulani expansionism is a well-planned, orchestrated move to take over the land of indigenous people and hand it over to marauding Fulani nomads across the Sahel. A letter from the IG of Police of Nigeria. In this very letter, they mentioned the names of the places where they felt or they believed their intelligence told them that these people are hiding. They did not send Nigerian army or police there to go and confront them. Instead, they sent them to Imo State. They sent them to Abia in Biafra land and gave them an order to shoot at sight. And I want you as a journalist, I want you as a lawyer to go back and investigate through the history of Fulani-funded terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria. Try and see if there is any instance where the IG of police or the chief of army staff has ever said to the troops, shoot at sight anywhere in the north. It's never happened before. Only in Biafra, a few days ago. That is to tell you that this is a well-planned pincer movement, basically from the east and from the west, in order to try to take over the geopolitical space of Nigeria for Fulanis across the Sahel. These are the things you need to ask yourself this question. You've been talking about Boko Haram, ISIS, all these murderers all over the place. Ask yourself this question. Has any Boko Haram been convicted before of any crime in Nigeria? Ask yourself this question. Now, let me put it to Africans and to the whole world at large on this your program today. I know that a while back, Al-Shabaab attacked a few shopping malls in Kenya. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, maybe you live in Kenya. You are now residing in Kenya. Is that correct?
Yes. Don't worry. Yes, I am here.
Now, how do you think Kenyans will feel if President Uhuru Kenyatta were to grant some kind of amnesty to Al-Shabaab to now say, Al-Shabaab, you know what? Come and become part of Kenyan army. How would you feel?
I think the Kenyans will go to the streets. The Kenyans will catch the Al-Shabaab and will roast them on the streets.
Now, let me tell you this. This is something that Africans don't know.
Yes.
Do you know that Nigerian army being sent to Biafra land today contains elements of Boko Haram and ISIS in it?
Yes.
Because they are now part and parcel.
I've seen the reports, yes.
Let me ask you this question. When people say we shouldn't fight the army or their police, how do we know who they sent to us? How can you distinguish between a terrorist in army uniform and a serving patriot in Nigerian army? That's the question I'm asking the whole world to answer. How do we know? They incorporated terrorists into their security architecture. How do we know who is who?
Okay.
How?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Let's just take a short break and take water because it is hot in here, and I think wherever you are is also hot.
It is, yes.
The interview is fantastic. It has generated one of the huge numbers in the history of Pan-Africanism and this television station. So let me take some water. You take some water. We resume in 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Okay, sir.
On that question and the world, how do you differentiate between Boko Haram and Nigerian army?
Simple question.
When Boko Haram has been inscripted, that's better English,
yeah.
Inscripted in Nigerian army to come and kill the people of the southeast. That is the question on the table. When we return, this is Matsanga Africa perspective. In Matsanga Africa perspective, we look for hot spots. One of the hot spots is Nigeria.
The referendum of sitting down to understand the difficulties of the nations, especially in Nigeria, in Cameroon, because the problem of Biafra is also similar to the problem of Amazonia. The English-speaking people have no say in Cameroon. They are taken as second-class citizens. Biafrans are also taken as second-class citizens in a country called Nigeria. Their problems are compounded with a dictator who has lost direction, who doesn't know where the wind is blowing from, whether east of Sahara or west of Sahara. He's going north when the wind is going south. Therefore,
invited, and we shall invite more people to talk about this. We shall invite any other person who wants to discuss the issue why Nigeria is collapsing. A state the center cannot hold anymore. With us in the studio and away taking questions from us is none other than the leader of Ipob, indigenous people of Biafra, His Excellency Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Welcome back, sir. One question.
Thank you very much.
One question. Yes. After the break, we had to go for some water because it was becoming hot here. To hear that Boko Haram is part and a parcel of the government of Nigeria. It is something that has sunk my heart. I don't know, but I am very shocked. Let me come to this. There is a feeling that time has come, and I will keep on going back to this question, that the United Nations, the 5 permanent members, are part and a parcel of our problem. Now, because you can't exclude any, China is already in Nigeria also. Russia is in Nigeria. America has been there. Britain is there. France, through Total Oil, their presence is there. And a candid question comes. We touched it, then we went away. But it is coming back from the questions I've read during the break. Someone from South Africa is asking, surely, do these permanent members of the United Nations have eyes? Do they see? Because there are some clips here which I don't want to show you on this TV. They are very bad as far as the killings of the youth in southeast in Biafra. The killings, the slaughter, the torture by the army, by Nigerian army. How they tie youths on their Land Rovers and roll them around the villages. I get these pictures every day from Onitsha. These are not photoshopped. These are real things happening in Nigeria. So someone has asked, does the United Nations permanent 5 have eyes or not? What would you say to them now, today? As we find...
I believe that.
Yeah. Go on.
They have eyes, but for some reason they have decided not to see the evil happening to Biafra. And this is what I want Africans to actually digest. Africans must ask themselves this question. Why is there this global conspiracy against Biafra? I have an answer to that. It is because Biafra portends goodwill for the whole of Africa. And they understand this very clearly. We cannot be blaming the permanent five of the UN because we are the ones that created the enabling environment for them to come in, to exploit and to do whatever thing that they want to do. I was having a very serious discussion with somebody and I said to them, do you think that the world prefers this very exploitative relationship that they have with the very corrupt, subsequent corrupt regimes that you have in Nigeria? The person said yes, and I said no. The answer is no. USA is more concerned about trade with Japan and EU more than they will with Nigeria. Because in all these economies, people want where they can ship their goods and services to be purchased. They needed to have the spending power. That was the reason behind the USA helping Germany to stand on its feet after the Second World War. The reconstruction of Europe by the US government was driven by economic self-preservation. People would want an Africa that is viable. An Africa that will be like the Southeast Asia, where high goods and services can be traded with ease. Not this very almost primitive, exploitative relationship that they have in places like Nigeria. I don't blame China. I don't even blame Britain. I don't blame Halliburton, USA. I don't blame Ajib of Italy. I don't blame Shell of Netherlands. I don't blame any of these people. We are the ones that allowed them to come to exploit us. So we cannot blame them. See, in life, when you allow yourself to become a victim and you keep playing the victim card all the time, you go into, your mindset will go into a very vicious cycle of this victimhood and you can never come out of it. And I'm saying to Black African people all over the world, if you believe in the equality of every man born, if you believe that all men were created equal by God, then anything white people can do, so also can you do it. If we cannot do what Europeans can do, what Americans can do, what South Americans can do, what Asians can do, we cannot lay any claim at all to human equality. It is our fault, not the fault of the permanent five. I go back to what I said before. It was these same people that gave oil and gas concessions to the United Kingdom. That was why they prosecuted the Biafran war for them. It wasn't a white man. These were black people. Gowon is a black man. It was Gowon that said no to restructuring. Obasanjo fought on the side of the colonial masters. That is the history of Africa. Joining your oppressors to defeat your own people. That's exactly what is playing out in Nigeria. Nothing more, nothing less. I cannot possibly apportion blame to anybody whatsoever. We should be blaming ourselves. Because in Africa, we tend to blame other people all the time, whereas the fault lies with us. The fault is ours. I remember one thing that the Chinese government said in 1999 when they took back Hong Kong. Chinese government said the 100 years of shame has come to an end. They never blamed anybody. They never blamed the British. They blamed themselves for losing Hong Kong in the first place to the British. And that is how real men should be able to appraise their condition. That we are poor, we are ravaged by poverty, disease, ignorance, and backwardness in Africa is our fault. Not the fault of the Europeans. If we decide to rise up tomorrow to say enough is enough, believe you me, we can transform Africa within only 2 years. After all, Paul Kagame is doing something in Kigali. Why can't we replicate it everywhere else? We must learn to put our people first. When a head of state gets up in the morning and buys a property in Europe, what do you expect? That means you don't love your people. When he gets up in the morning and decides to buy a private jet, that means he doesn't love his people. And these are clear facts. I cannot blame anybody for our plight. I blame ourselves for it. And that is why we are rising up. And I want to make this thing categorically clear so that the whole world can understand me. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what the greatest powers on this earth does in relation to Nigeria. Biafra is going to be free, or we all die in the process. I swear to God Almighty in heaven. Death is better than what we are passing through right now in that zoo called Nigeria. And we must be free. I said must. We are not begging anybody for it. It's about, before the white man came, there was Biafra. Before Britain was created, Biafra existed for over 5,000 years before the formation of Britain. How did they decide where I should live? How did they decide which identity I should have? How can a white man come from Europe and decide to call me a Nigerian? What is the meaning of Nigeria? Nobody knows. We must go back to who we are. Be proud of who we are. I am a proud Biafran. I can never be a proud Nigerian because the name Nigeria has no meaning. No meaning whatsoever. Not even in Swahili, it has no meaning. How can a white man come and create a country for me in Africa and I be holding their flag running up and down saying this is my country? Who said so? Can I go to Europe and create a country in Europe for them? On what basis is our argument of human equality when Europeans can come to Africa and create countries? We cannot go to Europe to create countries. How can that be equality? Oh, that is why racist towards us. And that is why we must rise up now, not tomorrow, to support Biafra. Biafra is the beginning of the true emancipation of black people. Ask Julius Nyerere and he will tell you. Thank you.
Julius Nyerere, indeed. In 1967, the late Julius Nyerere was the first man with Dr. Milton Obote. That's why I, on this microphone, I still carry the flag of Dr. Milton Obote. They are the first countries in Africa to recognize Biafra. So in case people are asking why we have interest in Biafra, I follow both the leaders because I have lived in Tanzania and I am a Ugandan. And I live in Kenya. I live in Europe. I'm a global citizen. I follow Pan-Africanism. Indeed, one other question before I bring this to your side, you address your people, and then we make it, call it a day. We have covered most of the things. Some of them you will bring them in your own address, which you will be given a chance to do so in 15 minutes also. There are so many ways, constitutional ways, of struggling for freedom. I believe you know where I'm going now.
Yes.
We have tried. For over 10 years you have tried. You have done so well. You have awoken the people and said, wake up. We are being slashed one by one. Buhari has allowed people to buy daggers. You know, I saw my investigative journalist came across 100,000 daggers. How do you buy daggers for who? You import daggers. Are there so many cows to slaughter in that place? I looked at it and said, these are daggers to come and kill other people. If the constitutional route of referendum fails, what other constitutional means would you use?
We insist on constitutionality.
Yes.
And we are going to have it. When Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King started to try to rearrange the social order in America, some people felt it was impossible to do, but eventually he succeeded. When Nelson Mandela, and I'm sure your good self, and all other anti-apartheid campaigners started, even with the support of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, this is something people don't know, that Ronald Reagan, a very powerful president of the US, and Margaret Thatcher, of course, the young lady, they all supported apartheid South Africa. They did. They were the ones that labeled ANC a terrorist group. Some people don't know this. It was only a few years ago that the name of Mandela was, should I say, erased from the logbook of terrorists in the United States of America. People don't know this. We are going to insist on what is ours and what is right. We've been occupying our land in perpetuity since the creation of man on this very earth. Somebody came and decided to change our identity, and we said no. The person said, okay, if I'm leaving, I'm going to hand you over to a more brutal caretaker, which are the Fulanis in this case. And that is why they're killing us and killing us till tomorrow. I want to draw your attention to something very, very critical. The order given by the Inspector General of Police of Nigeria to predominantly Fulani soldiers and Fulani police people to go to Biafra land to kill people. Had this announcement been made by any other police chief anywhere in the world, believe you me, there will be someone to appear in here the next day. I want to read for your audience. I'm going to quote him verbatim what he said. the IG of police in Nigeria said, he's a Fulani man, mind you, don't mind the media shout, do the job I command you. If anyone accuses you of human rights violation, the reports will come to my table and you know what I will do. So take the battle to them wherever they are and kill them all. Kill Biafrans all. Don't wait for an order. What another order are you waiting for when Mr. President has ordered you to shoot anybody carrying AK-47 assault rifle? Quote me, even a dead policeman can be tried and dismissed from the force, and his family will not get his benefits. And this is from a police chief. Do you know the funniest thing, or should I say the most astonishing thing of all? The EU has a presence in Abuja, in Nigeria. The British High Commissioner is there, Katuna Line. The US Ambassador is there. They've not said anything at all. In other words, that leads us now to believe that exactly what happened between 66 and 1970 is about to happen again, which is kill as many Biafrans as possible. I want all Africans to understand this, that this very policy of genocide and slaughter is sanctioned by the US Ambassador in Nigeria, sanctioned by the UK of all people. Tomorrow they'll be singing songs of praise about human rights abuses, what China is doing, what is happening in Gaza, what is happening in Rohingya. But in Nigeria, they sanction the killing of Biafrans in broad daylight. What sort of justice is that, I ask? And I want Africans to know, to ask themselves this question: why is it that the USA and Britain wants this very tiny country to be squashed and killed? What is it that they have that is driving them so mad? Because the future progress of Africa lies in the land of Biafra, and they do not want black people to be developed. That is why they're doing what they're doing. Look at a whole, should I say, high commission running all over the place, telling the country how to be run. The same things that from Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Azikiwe, all of them, Patrice Lumumba, Jomo Kenyatta fought. The same thing that Mandela fought. Black people are now tolerating it. The same thing we are fighting. We want independence, we want self-rule. Today, this very morning or afternoon or evening, one single woman, is crossing the whole of Nigeria, telling the Nigerian police who to kill, telling them who to shoot at. Now tell me how I can be in a country where the chief of police have targeted my people for extermination and the whole world is quiet. Tomorrow they'll start blaming us for one thing or the other. But we're not backing down because Biafra is coming, and I assure you no Jupiter can stop it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask my final question. What does the future look like for Biafra? I'm interested in that. What does the future? Because let me come first. I've struggled for Sudan. My television and my TV struggled for Gambia. You remember you were listening to me when Yaya Jammeh switched off all television stations in Gambia. I took my satellite quietly in Gambia, and Yaya with all the army could not know that I was broadcasting from his own place. I took my satellite phone and we did help to liberate Gambia. I'm proud that South Sudan today, I played a part to call Dr. Riek Machar. You know, at the time the people, Your Excellency Nnamdi Kanu, think that when you interview a man who has a different opinion from the government, you are giving them platform. Yes. We must hear. When we talk, then the violence will stop. If we keep quiet, then we shall perpetuate violence. So we should keep on talking. And I picked up a phone called Riek Machar in South Africa. where he had been put under house arrest. I shouted on this television to IGAD and the AU. I made noise to the British and the Commonwealth office. I said, how do you lock a person who should be negotiating peace in South Sudan? Took about 2 months, 3 months. Riaka was set free, was told you can now start the negotiations. Everything I've touched on African continent in my 65 years, I've resolved. I resolved a big, huge conflict in Uganda. I think you already know. Between the Lord Resistance Army and the President Museveni. People feared to go to the bush to look for this man, younger man called Kony. Very young, still 40-something. I went. I said, you are killing people. People want you to talk. And we have come here. If you want to kill us, you can also kill us. I'm a determined man. I want you to paint for us a picture of a Biafra that does not look Savimbi way. You know where I'm coming from. You have read the Savimbi history.
I do.
We give him everything, then he turns up, he misuses, he lets us down. Sudan, South Sudan, look, we give them time. Riak comes back, they fight again over power. I have been there for Cameroon, the Amazonian people. I'm bringing them again. Now they have several factions. You don't know whom to call. One calls you, don't call that one, don't call this one. That, you see, these are things that worry me in Africa. Paint for me the picture of a Biafra you want.
Yeah.
Whether today, tomorrow, whether you are there or not there, whether I'm there or not there, we want to see the picture of a Biafra. I love the people.
Mr. Ononcha will be speaking about the Sahel region and about the country called Nigeria. He will talk about Biafra. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mazi M. Ononcha. Are you there? Hello? Mr. Ononcha, are you there? Are you there? Mr. Manzi Mike Ononcha, are you there? Technical problems. Can you come online? Technical problems. Thank you very much. However, we shall proceed. Oh, also joining us from United States of America is none other than Dr. Jeff Kalui. Dr. Jeff Kalui was a presidential candidate in the Kenyan elections of 2017. Dr. Jeff Kalui is himself a conflict resolution expert dealing with Africa, with the entire world. He's a good mediator. He does arbitration. He's also a healthcare doctor. So most of you who have got these problems, all of us, as you know, Africa, I was saying in my opening remarks, the entire continent of Africa, Dr. Jeff Kalui, there is no single country that can give us a vaccine. Are we bewitched? We have so many doctors, including you.
You are one of the scientists. But you have gone to the United States instead. I'm one, unlike me, who studied political science, which took me to another country called Britain. At least I'm contributing to Africa by doing exactly what political science is supposed to do. So I'm happy about that. Welcome to the show. Test the microphones, Dr. Jeff Kanu.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Masanga. It's always a pleasure to work and discuss issues of continental importance. So if you can hear me, you can confirm, but I'm looking forward to discuss issues of importance as well.
Thank you very much. The topic is very clear. The Sahel region. The Sahel region is in conflict. Right from Mali, Nigeria, Gambia, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Togo. We have a Cameroon, Chad, Libya. We are in trouble. But the case study we are using tonight is Nigeria. Nigeria as a big nation has let us down in West Africa. It was supposed to, with a population of 250 million people, my brothers and sisters across the continent of Africa, Nigeria will be a trading partner and we would be making money. But instead we make a lot of tears. There are tears coming from Nigeria every morning, every day, you switch on TV, you hear 200 people have been killed in Onitsha, in Enugu, Port Harcourt, southeastern Nigeria. The Biafrans butchered, killed, kidnapped, taken away, slaughtered, tortured, defiled. These are the words coming out of Nigeria today. In the north, we have Maiduguri area, the areas where terrorists of ISIS, Boko Haram, have taken the country. They slaughter the way they want. They cut people's hands, limbs. They kidnap all the girls. Going by the standards that we have today, in a few years to come, Nigeria might not have girls amongst the population, because all the girls would have gone with the rebels or would have gone with ISIS as their slaves. Looking at all this, what do we make of the continent of Nigeria, the continent of Africa?
Well, thank you so much. First, as you have heard, my name is Dr. Jeff Kaluyu, and I'm a Kenyan by birth, and I would say that a very good, knowledgeable perspective of Africa. And 2017, as you heard, I ran for President of the Republic of Kenya. 2022, we are on as well. That aside, the question was very specific in terms of Africa, because we are talking of conflict in Sahel. And specifically, we wanted to hone in Nigeria. We have to understand, first of all, some of the differences. And the importance of why the doctor is discussing this is because those variables or perspectives also can be applied, and we can look at those examples and see where we are ourselves at home and how we can avoid those. Because if we do not learn history, we are bound to repeat it. Nigeria is very specific, and the Sahel area that covers some parts of Mali and northwest Nigeria and some places of northeast. So we have to see what Nigeria is for what it is. Unlike Kenya, Nigeria is almost 50-50 with Christians and Muslims, and there are about 250 different tribes with almost 600 different languages. And all these variables play into part. But this is something that started developing like 12 years ago in terms of Boko Haram. And Boko Haram started with the small scale kidnappings and along with terroristic approach by the Delta area, small gangs. And they have now mushrooms because they have been led to continue mushroom and continue, become bigger and bigger without control. Now today, and even I think on recently, I think a day or two, we are talking of like even they took 2 students from Kaduma area from Greenfield University and they murdered them because that's what they are trying to hit where it hurts the most, in schools, in universities, kidnapping girls and keeping them for, to torture parents, because that's what terrorists do. They hit the heart of a nation and communities. So Nigeria, it is in a very big predicament. 250 million people in approximation, and all those people, they occupy in a space that is approximately Texas in the United States. So we are talking of a very small space occupied by many people, and don't forget it's one of the largest economies in Africa, and where Nigeria goes, and we would like to be there as Kenyans, pretty much Africa goes, including their military. So we are talking of small, one of the significance is that we are talking of small gangs that are rising. And for example, the Greenfield University case in Kaduma, they wanted 800 million naira, which is about $2 million before they do things. So we are talking of Boko Haram that have become like blackmail, organizations, and they have been led to continue to mushroom. And that is very important, especially in Kenya, where we are supposed to look at situations where things are starting to mushroom, or anybody drumming drums of war. They don't understand war until they are well traveled. Because if you travel in these countries in Africa, when you let small scale violence related or potential small cells, they grow to be big and it is hard to control them. Where Nigeria is today in Northeast, in Boko Haram and other places, it's almost uncontrollable. They are doing a lot of mass murdering. I mean, they kidnap people and to torture the parents. We don't want to get there in as Kenyans or other parts of Africa. And whoever is listening across Africa, from South Africa to North Africa, I can almost say with confidence, I have a student that have graduated in almost every country in Africa. So I'm hoping when they hear me, they can hear from their professor, their teacher, that we need to lead in Africa, because without peace, we can't prosper in terms of business, we can grow. Remember Nigeria, the most population in Nigeria is under 15 years, 15 years old. So we are talking of destroying a country from within, apart from the conflict itself. If we give no future to these 15-year-olds who are coming to be adults, and when they come to the world, they can't go back. They must continue and take over the government. So if we destroy their future, if we don't like what is happening, then we don't like the future, what is happening. So Nigeria is a case study that we need to learn as Kenyans, and where things can go, what it can become, and when these small terrorists or talking violent rhetoric, even now we are in political season, trying to talk violent rhetoric, it can grow these under the surface groups, and we might not be able to do them. And conflict resolution experts like Dr. Masanga, who has done it hands-on in Africa, in many countries, he knows there is now need for experts to go to Nigeria to start bringing factions together and also making sure the rule of the law is followed. But at the moment, there is a need for experts and groups to come together.
Let me come in.
Yes.
Dr. Karui, let me come in. How do you bring a government that is itself broken down, where the leader has no authority over certain states, where the leader has encouraged kidnap, slaughter, rendition, taking people, picking people? How do you bring a government where a man who was the chief kidnapper General Buhari is well known for having kidnapped Umar Diko, tried to put Umar Diko in a coffin. I was in London by then. When these pictures came on TV, I believed there. I didn't know it was this Muhammad Buhari. So there is nothing new about Muhammad Buhari that you can see that a leader can bring a country and sit down. Sit with who? Other parts of Nigeria are saying we need a referendum, like the Biafrans. Our friend from Biafra is here. He's online here, right from Dubai, and he's going to tell us what it is, the pain. The shoe pains them. They know where the wearer knows where the shoe pains. And I believe Mike M.J. Onocha will tell us more. You have made your points very clear. If we leave it to grow, it could create a very big problem for Africa. It has already grown. The dismemberment of Libya, Mali, Chad, you saw rebels crossing over from Libya to kill the president. Surely, in Africa, they have killed the president and they celebrated. They went back and said, we killed him. We have seen in Cameroon, Paul Robia sentences opposition leaders at 5 a.m. in the morning. Where the crowds are not there, they were sentenced to life because they wanted the state of Amazonia. My brother Mike M.J. Onocha from Dubai, you are a man who speaks, who knows where the shoe pains you. Tell us more. We are not schools who look at the sun. Now we come to you for the real facts on the ground. Take it away, brother, as we listen.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm coming out loud now. Can you hear me?
Very clear. We're here. I hope you are hearing in Washington, sir.
Yes, yes.
Loud,
very clear.
Loud and clear. All right. Good evening, doctor, and good evening, doctor. I think we have 2 doctors there. So yes. All protocols observed. All right.
Good evening, elder doctor, and good evening, younger doctor.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right.
I'm the eldest. Yes.
Okay. My name's Mazi M.I. Onoha. That is my name. Of course, I am a Biafran by birth, and I appreciate the opportunity and the privilege you've given to me this evening to come to your show. All right, without wasting time, let me go straight to it. First of all, we are talking about the Sahel region. All right, now it is important for us to understand which countries are in the Sahel area, because our listeners this evening, they might be hearing Sahel. It sounds like Greek word. They don't understand what is Sahel. But let me help them this evening. When we talk about Sahel, we're talking about Senegal, we talk about Mauritania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, Sudan, and Eritrea. Now, these are the countries that fall under this Sahel region. Now, we're talking about conflict. We need to understand first, where did it start? Because if you want to treat a sickness, you need to understand where that sickness started in order for you to be able to treat that sickness. The doctors call it diagnosis. You need to diagnose the patient, find out what is the problem, then you can apply medication. Now, let's go to the epicenter of this whole conflict, the epicenter. I've always said it. I don't think an African country have the capacity to control a population of 250 million. I don't think we have all it takes. Now, I love the fact that we are using Nigeria as a case study, because Nigeria is the so-called big brother of Africa. Nigeria is the so-called giant of Africa with a population of 250 million. But now when you look at the kind of government they are running. That is not the government you use. Let's take America, for instance. A country like America. America is huge. America is massive. Only Alaska, the population of Alaska, you know how many Alaska is. But now, because America understands the dynamics, they understand that in order for them to control the population, they need to, practice an autonomous kind of government whereby the states are independent. That is why America is working. But because Nigeria is not a country, Nigeria is a British contraption. Nigeria is a business venture. That is why they don't care what system works. They just pack all the people in that, I call it a container. They die, they live, they don't care. But I will come back to that. But let's go to the epicenter and why we have this conflict in the Sahel. Now, in northeast Nigeria, it may interest you to know that the armed conflict between non-state armed groups and security forces continues to affect neighboring countries, which means what is happening in Nigeria is what is spilling over to other African countries in the Sahel region. Now, if you are a terrorist anywhere in Africa now, your dream will be to go to Nigeria because that is where it's happening. Remember, in order for terrorists to succeed, they have to indulge in kidnapping. And the kidnapping market in Nigeria is very lucrative. So Nigeria is uncontrollable. Nigeria is more like what you call a banana republic. So this conflict that is happening in the northeast is what is spilling from Nigeria. You go to Niger, Cameroon, Chad, and other parts of Sahel region. Of course, you know about Boko Haram. Boko Haram is an old story that we know about. Boko Haram has now unified themselves. As a matter of fact, you have the ones you call ISWAP. Nigeria is a country that have about 6, if I'm not mistaken, terrorist groups in one country. What do you expect? A country that hosts about 6 terrorist groups. Now, if somebody is telling me that there is redemption for Nigeria, I will tell you that you are dreaming. It is not possible because these terrorists have found a safe haven in Nigeria. And you know one thing about terrorists, when they find a safe haven, the resources are there, the oil is there. Their dream would be one day to conquer the Niger Delta area and take over the oil field and sponsor their what? Their terrorist activities. So Nigeria is a safe haven for the terrorists. Now I'm going to shock you. Now look at this. Look at this. In Nigeria alone, you have the one you call Jamaat Nusra Islam, while Muslimin, it is called JNIM. That is one of the terrorist organizations. And then again, you have the Islamic State of West Africa, ISWAP. In Nigeria, only one country hosting so much terrorist groups. Now you have Islamic State Greater Sahara, ISGS. Then you have Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. You have Al-Murabiton, Ansar Dine, and then you have Boko Haram. Now, let's go to Biafra. How is this affecting the people of Biafra? And not just only Biafra, because in Nigeria, you have people who have been forced into this unlawful marriage. When these people are doing whatever they are doing, they target Biafra. Because remember, the oil you talk about is in Biafra. Now, their target is how to do what? Capture Biafra. And how will they do that? They start by killing the people of Biafra. They start by victimizing the people of Biafra. As you know now, it is a problem for people to go to the farm in Biafra because of the... As a matter of fact, I forgot the most deadliest terrorists of them all. And that is the ones that we call the Fulanese herdsmen. The herdsmen, the one they say they are herdsmen, but they are recognized as the second most deadliest terrorist group in whole world. But Nigerian government have not yet proscribed those people. So these are the people that are terrorizing the southeast, killing people, forbidding the women from going to the farm to do what they have to do. Until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came and introduced what you call the Eastern Security Network. That is why people are still alive today in the Southeast. If not for the Eastern Security Network, I promise you, you would have experienced another genocide happening right before our own very eyes. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is this. The head has already failed because Buhari cannot handle the situation. He is a terrorist himself. Remember, this is the same man who said some time ago that an attack on Boko Haram is an attack against the North. This is a president protecting a terrorist organization. So how on earth do you expect the same man, how do you expect the same man to do what? Protect the whole Nigeria? He is the man that believes that it is, if you are not a Fulani, you deserve to die. That is what Buhari believes in. And that is why the evidence is clear. When you go to his, his cabinet, it is 100% Northernized. It is 100% Northernized. So we are feeling the pain in the East. And that is why we are calling on the whole world. We are calling on the United Nations to come to our aid and, of course, to do a thorough investigation in Nigeria before things fell apart. Because let me tell you, it is just a matter of time. Because it is only a tree that hears that you're going to kill him and the tree stands there. But a human being, when he hears that he's going to be killed, that human being has to do something to survive. So if the United Nations do not do anything as soon as possible, this conflict is going to be massive and it's going to split to all other African countries, not just only the Sahel region, but even to Kenya, to Uganda, to all other African countries. Because now we're talking about a population of 250 million. Where are they going to run to? Let me stop here for now. And as we continue, then of course, I will touch other areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike, for this analysis. I have never seen a country with, apart from Afghanistan, which had several terrorist groups. I did not know that Nigeria also has over 7 terrorist groups. I knew about Boko Haram and ISIS, and the new ISIS group and Al-Qaeda Maghreb, the unit, the cell, the sleeper cells in the north of Africa. I knew about the Fulani herdsmen, the one that kill using daggers, the ones who have been killing the Biafrans, the ones supported by the government. The international community has been watching slowly, Nigeria disintegrating. Biafra has been saying, give us a referendum. We want to go. We want to decide. And the leader would have said, okay, you can give them a referendum and stagger their departure like in Europe, European Union. Britain wanted to separate from European Union, but it was not immediate. It was staggered until just last year when we finally got out and said Britain is on its own with other 54 member states of Commonwealth. Why has Nigeria refused to give the Biafran a referendum? And yet, the entire state, central government is collapsed. The foreign policy of Nigeria is a dead foreign policy. The foreign policy, the defense policy are all dead. Commanders and officers, police is the most corrupt in the whole world. You saw Nigerians had to go on their Twitter handle and remove a police force that was extorting money from the people. Dr. Kaludi, given these new revelations, a country where people are demanding for their referendum. In Kenya, you are demanding for, people want a referendum to change the bad laws. And I can see people trying to run away from it. And yet today the same people are shouting. I was very impressed, even annoyed. I wanted to cry tears, but I couldn't cry. When I had people on Kenyan television calling for reconciliation. Yet this is something that I've been calling for all the time. That let's have a redemption strategy, healing, reconciliation, accountability. My Jesus Christ, I couldn't believe it, that what I've been saying, God has come and held my hand, and I'm seeing it here happen in Kenya. They are saying now we want the deputy president to reconcile. The same message. I don't know whether Karuya will tell Nigerians where the state has collapsed already to reconcile with who? How do you reconcile with Buhari, who has failed? Let me tell you, as I surrender, I give you time to speak. Nigeria does not need a judicial process to sort its political problem. Nigeria needs a political solution. Am I wrong, Mike? Nigeria's problem is political. It's a political solution.
100%.
Not
absolutely.
Not judicial, not rendition. Don't pick people and kill them. You want to solve the Biafran issue. General Babangida, my friend, although I don't like the way he did his things, he seemed to have been one of the few, educated a bit. he behaved so well. They have all said Nigeria needs a rearrangement. Obasanjo, whom I don't respect because he likes money so much. You know, when you give Obasanjo an assignment, he will sell you. He has said rearrange Nigeria. All people across the globe of Africa and the international community are saying Nigeria needs a new way forward. The giant of Africa is collapsing. Dr. Jeff Karui, is the referendum the way out to give each independent state its autonomy to go and sort its own affairs? And I loaded with that question to answer me this one. Does Africa need elections?
You are so politically aware, and you are totally a political mind, an African political mind, and a leader in that aspect. So I want to correct it to make sure that I don't seem to say these people, Boko Haram, needs to come together to the table to talk about anything, because they are terrorists. Terrorists, you don't negotiate with terrorists.
No, but let me correct you here.
Yeah.
Where you were in Washington negotiated with the Taliban.
I know so that it happened.
Don't be shocked to hear that we are negotiating with Al-Shabaab in Doha. And I have told my East African friends, President Museveni and President Uhuru Kenyatta, they should be prepared that one of these days we shall be laughing with Al-Shabaab. Because the way the Americans are handling their policy around Africa is that we could end up sharing seats with Al-Shabaab in Mogadishu.
My position is we're trying to negotiate with the terrorists. It is, we can talk about reformed people who back out and they give up their terroristic methods. Those are reformed people that can sit on the table. But we cannot sit on the table with people who are already killing people and already taking positions because we are killing people. Unless we demand and we get this, then we will not stop killing people. That should not, because if it is allowed, then it will become a policy, a global policy, that people start killing people and then they must be sat on the table. I think it should be discouraged. But
Dr. Kalui, maybe you are fearing to speak because you are in America. but I just want, and Mike will support me here, and the other Daniel Wesonga. I don't fear to say the truth.
Yeah.
Americans sat on table with Taliban in Doha and struck a deal, and they left us crying, left millions of Afghanistans being slaughtered by Taliban. And they are now looking, they are now looking for places in Africa where to dump these soldiers.
Yes.
You get the point? If this is what America is doing, I am telling you, America has got to do something now, which is very, very strong for us to believe in them anymore. Because we cannot believe in a country that leaves people in Africa, in Kambu, in all the states of Afghanistan being slaughtered by the Taliban.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
We cannot do that. You are very right in that we cannot allow that people need to be slaughtered. And I think that would have been a mistake. That is a mistake from the American side if you sit down with them. But I think where they came from was they wanted to withdraw, but then they needed to leave responsible people who are supposed to take responsibility. And then the new government, they wanted to negotiate new policy. And those people, I had promised they're not going to do anything that is bad. They're not going to get into the airport until Americans leave. But they have started already doing bad things, torturing people. The Taliban.
Dr. Kalui, are Americans not watching Nigerians being slaughtered?
Yes. So I'm talking of the Taliban side.
Let's come back to Nigeria.
Nigeria. So
the number of Nigerians fleeing Nigeria, seeking asylum in the United States of America is huge. They had to close their embassy in Abuja, the immigration department, because they were receiving on a daily basis over 10,000 applications. So is that not a worry to the Americans in the region that several Nigerians, Biafrans, are living, they are scattered in Nairobi, in Uganda, in Zimbabwe. A huge number is in South Africa, Zimbabwe, in London. So many of them. Doesn't America see this? Let's come there.
Yes, Nigeria, it is not even acceptable what is happening. And I agree with you. Referendum, it is a solution. If there needs, because without peace, the country, and we have seen the countries that where peace has been in limited resource, like Somalia, like in Libya and other places, and Central African Republic, it's very difficult to bring a country once it falls apart. So if people want a referendum and answer that question so that they can bring peace, because without peace, no business, Nigeria is going to fall apart. And that big economy, and then also the military, it's the biggest military we know. So the referendum, it is required. My last post in Facebook or social media was in total agreement with you in terms of redemption process or a redemption policy, that we needed a national reconciliation commission, and I called and I demanded for it, that we need it immediately. The need it means in Kenya to abolish the NCIC and NRC, which is National Reconciliation Commission, to get expanded mandate. And that is something similar that needs to go to Nigeria so that they can be able to get the people on board. If it's a referendum, it should be allowed, because the constitutions can be changed and people should rule themselves the way they want. And that should be open. If it is people who want to be living separate. And as a matter of fact, if you look at Nigeria, and the doctor in Doha may even support this, that Nigeria has been looking into the rotational presidency for a while, that because different people demand it. And if that's what's going to be bringing peace, then it needs to be furthered or to be looked into as a solution. And referendums should never be stopped in any country, because things can be today like this and people don't want it. And the only time two groups that have a conflict to be resolutioned or to be answered should be answered by the people at a ballot box. One group says yes, the other group says no, and then they go for the ballot. So I think Nigeria is ripe for a referendum. If people choose that there's going to be a separation, or there's going to be that particular item, what causes Boko Haram, because also there is reports that Boko Haram is being funded within the sources of the government, or it is, they know the source of where the Boko Haram is coming from. So there is definitely a discomfort that needs to be addressed right away. And I think referendum, I'm total support of that. What I was talking about, the people coming together or looking for a solution, isn't for the government to sit down with the terrorists. I'm talking of the 200. There are so many tribes that come together. That is, there needs to be some sort of a group that comes to talk about peace, because when conflict in tribes and the people who speak different languages, they come into conflict, it is very hard, no matter which group sit down on the big table. No matter what they do, if you do not resolute, or you come into a conclusion or a nice solution with the tribes, the same times you are working on the table solutions, they will be almost not conceivably possible. So again, referring to Kenya, the referendum, whether there was something wrong with the referendum, let's say BBI, they should have said, this is what is wrong, you go back, do it. But stopping a referendum, it is not even acceptable in a country.
Yeah, in Nigeria, Buhari has totally refused a referendum. He doesn't want to talk about it. Everybody who talks about Nnamdi Kanu was on this show talking about it. People want a referendum. He didn't want, instead he kidnapped him.
So he cannot do that. It's not allowed. We cannot accept
international law is very clear. This guy was kidnapped, taken. They needed a referendum. They were talking about a referendum. The only thing that we gave them was the peace. The peace that they wanted is to talk about their country. But look, they have been singing about a referendum. What makes Buhari fear a referendum is very simple. It's because once the referendum takes place, the Biafrans are over 100 million people.
Yes.
They will vote in favor of the referendum, and there will be no Fulani herdsmen walking around in the desert looking for cows where to herd them. You know? So that is where the problem is. Part of the problem of Nigeria, that's why I told you, even if you kidnap too many people, even if you kidnap every Biafran and remove him on planet Earth, there will be another group of Biafrans who will demand that they want to go home. And that is what we have been talking about. Yes. Welcome to the show. I'm coming to you, Mike. Welcome to the show. Have you finished, Prof. Ado?
Yes, I was going to say only a final point is that the three main tribes, at least there needs to be some sort of agreement in the Hausa, Yoruba, and the other big tribes. So at
Igbo. But you cannot put two things. The three are quite different. They go different.
Yes.
The Fulani want to kill the Biafrans. They kill them every day.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. So
you cannot the there's no way you put these people together. Nigeria.
Yes, so the referendum needs to go ahead because of the differences of those three tribes. Otherwise, they will kill each other and fight to death. So if the referendum, it is clear for the people so that it can reduce this big conflict, then they need to campaign heavily, and then whoever does not win, then they must accept it because that's the will of the people. And that's what my point was going to be, that referendum is a solution to the big conflict of the three main tribes.
I think you must lead that referendum push together from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. That's a very good point you have made there. And I hope Mr. Unocha will be telling us more about the referendum. How far have you gone politically? Then we later on tell us what message do we give to the international community regarding the leader, the detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu. What do we do? How do we get him to have a fair trial? A trial of people, because he was actually, every international law was broken here. And the Nigerian government is not telling the truth, because they will be actually isolated. They broke every international law and came and just kidnapped people. So thank you very much. Across there, we have now Professor Gerard Onyari seated in his office right now. Welcome back, Professor Gerard Onyari. Professor Gerard Onyari, if you are not moving, then let's look for Daniel Wesonga. Sean Wesonga, good evening, wherever you are. Daniel, yes, Sean Wesonga is Special Assignment Editor, Investigative Journalist. He's the one who does all the investigations of my programs. Daniel, good evening.
Yes, a very, very good evening, Dr. Masanga David at our Political Command Center. Good evening, Dr. Jeff Kaluyu in Washington, and Mr. Onoha JP, who is joining us, I think from Nigeria, and Professor Jared Onyari. And I've been following the conversation, Dr. Masanga, and I believe it is high time the government of Nigeria addressed the question of Biafra and allowed the people of Biafra, the Ipob people, to discuss upon their own destiny. And this can only be done through giving them a referendum that President Muhammadu Buhari and his cronies have been dodging over the period that they have been in leadership. I think now it is the time, Dr. Masanga. I submit.
Thank you very much. You submit. You have a man of few words. You want only one thing. Nobody this way in the South, when they hear about Biafrans suffering, nobody wants to talk about Buhari, and they praise Buhari. None of us here, at least not in my tongue, not in my mouth. Buhari is a killer. He has killed people. He's killing people. He's slaughtering people. And I think God, our tears must be seen, must be dropped. Nigeria has become a country where God comes to cry, but does not drop tears. Time has come for tears to be dropped, such that Nigeria changes, Biafrans get their freedom, the young. Professor Gerard Onyari, you have been connecting and you disappeared. Thank you very much. We have in the studio from Dubai, Mr. Mike M.G. Onocha of Ipob, say one of the people in Dubai. Thank you very much. And we have Professor Dr. Kalui. We had also Daniel Wesonga. Professor, the Sahel region, you are a conflict resolution expert. The entire Sahel region is under fire. Right from Egypt, Eritrea, to the east, to the western coast, Gambia, it is on fire. But the fire begins from Nigeria. What are your comments?
Dr. Masanga, that is a very good question, and the subject is so key to me. The Saharan region, Dr. Masanga, when you look at it, there's a lot of insecurity. Terrorism operates around that period. The Boko Haram, that's where they are hiding. They are moving around those countries, Dr. Masanga, and they have extended to Nigeria, and they have destabilized that country, Dr. Masanga. And the leadership of Nigeria, which is not focused, which are fighting the side, so especially when the people of Biafra want to have their state, the Ipob people. And it's very unfortunate, Dr. Masanga, that the Ipob people, when they are supposed to be back in their country to develop their country, they are scattered all over the world, and which is a very unfortunate thing. So as we continue advancing this conversation, Dr. Masanga, we have once and wherever not again say that the African Union is dead. They have got a full-page department which talks about peace and security, and that's where I appeal to our President Mugai Kenyatta, as he wants to leave a legacy in Kenya, that he should commence a serious conversation and an engagement, Dr. Masanga. They should be in these forums where we are trying to say that all is not well in the continent of Africa, Dr. Masanga. So in the Sahel region, Dr. Masanga, I don't know what the desk of African Union in Africa Union is doing. I don't know whether the ECOWAS have got a strategy, Dr. Masanga, on how they want to combat the insecurity in this region, Dr. Masanga. I don't know what the Maghreb countries are trying to do, Dr. Masanga. I don't know what even East Africa and even the Comesa region, Dr. Masanga, what they're trying to do, Dr. Masanga. And if we don't make noise, Dr. Masanga, and it's high time, Dr. Masanga, I have said that we should come up with a Pan-African forum or agenda like the one we have, which actually gives solutions to the problems of insecurity facing the continent of Africa, especially the Sahel region, Dr. Masanga. In the morning, we were focusing about the threats of peace at the horn of Africa, East Africa and Central Africa, Dr. Masanga. Africa will never be safe, Dr. Masanga, if any of the region is not safe, Dr. Masanga. And that's where the African leaders with Dr. Masanga, we keep on talking about sustainable development, Dr. Masanga. And sustainable development number 16, which talks about peace, justice, and democracy, Dr. Masanga. Do you see it? Do we just go to United Nations, Dr. Masanga, and the solutions are passed, and then we become small boys, Dr. Masanga? So the United Nations, be it as it may, Dr. Masanga, there is much which needs to be done in the continent of Africa. We are not going to see, Dr. Masanga. The only thing that we are going to pass the next generation, Dr. Masanga, if we are afraid to take care of the environment and the climate change is causing havoc, Dr. Masanga, and people don't even have food, don't have water. The effects of climate change, Dr. Masanga, let us have the continent which is safe and secure, Dr. Masanga, where people are able, Dr. Masanga, to fend and move. So the leadership of the African continent, Dr. Masanga, it is not a request. We demand that the people of Africa need peace and security so that they can move on with their lives to develop the continent. I submit.
Thank you very much, Professor. You have talked and talked over this subject for a long time. And I'm very happy that you have summarized it in the terms. And we have talked about this. The Dubai Mike Onocha has told us the plight of the people of Biafra. They continue to be subjected under the terror of Buhari's regime. They continue to yearn for freedom, which they might never get, but they will struggle on. They continue to find out why the world is silent. Why America? The world is silent because the oil is pumped in ships and it is going. The world is silent because Nigeria is a dumping place. The world is silent because the corrupt leadership of Nigeria is banking billions and billions of dollars into accounts in Europe and America. And they use this money to fight wars like in Afghanistan, Iraq. When the money is on account, it generates interest. Remember, there was a list of Nigerians who were banking outside billions of dollars, while hospitals are not available in Nigeria. Schools are very poor. Roads are in potholes deeper than a crater on Mount Kilimanjaro. These are some of the problems that create conflict in the Sahel region. Marginalization of the people in Nigeria, of Biafra, giving them no voice, no room, but only the room to seek for alternative constitutional means. Mike, It is your turn now to bring us to perspective. What did you want the world to do? What do you want us to tell the world? We have sung the song. We have delivered our messages. What can we do that the world must hear? You have been told the AU is dead. It's as dead as possible. I can see President Uhuru Kenyatta has just appointed, actually nominated the Minister of Defense, Monica Juma, to become the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. That's breaking news just coming in right now from State House in Nairobi. Good luck. Hey, good luck. And I thank the people of Commonwealth that is exactly what time has come for people. The Commonwealth Conference will be taking place in London sometime in October. And there will be quite a lot of lobby that will take place. And this is the time when people need friends. There are people there who have not been friendly. So we need all the friends in the Commonwealth. So there you are, Mr. Onyocha. How are you? Tell us more.
Right.
What do you want us to say? What do you want? The plight of the people. At least you are in Dubai. You have a briefing space to talk. The people in Onitsha, the people in Enugu, the people in the other parts of Biafra have no say. Take it away, my brother.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. Now, first of all, I do agree with you. You say that the United Nations is dead. I couldn't agree more.
And African Union.
Yes, African Union. Sorry about that. Now, I want to go to United Nations, Article 1, which speaks about self-determination, which is the umbrella that Mazi, Nnamdi, Kanu, and Ipob is operating. Now, the principle of self-determination is properly embodied in Article 1 of the Charter of the United Nations. All people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine the political status and freely pursue their economic and social and cultural development. It is in Article 1 of the United Nations. So what we are doing is not criminal. And there is no reason why we should be labeled terrorists because we are pursuing our self-determination. Now, when you talk about referendum is a mechanism that is built, it is inbuilt in every democracy, every true democracy. Why is referendum inbuilt? It is inbuilt in a situation like this, like the case of Nigeria, when there is a problem whereby you don't know what the masses are saying, you put it to a test. You go to the poll, not just only for self-determination. You go for referendum when you want to change the constitution. You go for referendum when you want to change a statute in the legislature or even in the constitution. So when it comes to the issue of self-determination, the only test to determine whether what we are saying as Ipob is nonsense is to go through a referendum. Let's put it to the test. If the majority of the people say, no, we don't want Biafra, we want to remain in Nigeria. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said it here, even in your show, everywhere, that he will pack his bags and go home. If the people of Biafra say, we don't want Biafra, we want to remain in Nigeria, we are not going to fight. We are not going to struggle. We will pack our bags and go home. Why are you afraid of calling on a referendum? Now, they say they don't negotiate, but they've appointed a man, Sheikh Gumi. I don't know if you've heard about this man. His name is Sheikh Gumi. He goes to the bush and negotiates with Boko Haram. He goes to the bush and negotiates with terrorists. But when you talk about Ipob, they don't want to negotiate with Ipob. They only want to do what? Kill them. Because remember, Buhari fought the civil war. The hatred he has for Biafran people, the hatred he has for our fathers is still there, is still alive. And that is why Buhari doesn't want to hear about Biafra. Now, if he is a good president, obviously I don't know if the man there is Buhari, but whoever he is, should have called for a referendum to determine what is the problem and how do we deal with that. So what we are asking as Biafrans is very simple. Put it to the test. I don't know why Britain will give referendum to Scotland. Britain is willing to give referendum to Ireland, to all the people around them. But when it comes to the issue of Biafra, Britain turned a deaf ears. I don't know. Are they telling us that the referendum is not good for a black man? Are they telling us that an African does not have right to a self-determination? Is referendum only good for the British, Scotland, and all the rest of the world, the Europeans, and all other parts of the world? But when it comes to Africa, they don't think we are human enough to go through a referendum. So all we are asking as Biafran is very simple. This is our life. This is our destiny. And the Article number 1 of the United Nations has given us the authority to demand for a referendum, to demand for self-determination. And that is what we are asking. We're not asking for too much. And ever since we started this agitation, it has been peaceful. Why is it peaceful? Let me tell you, most of the people that are following Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we are all educated people. We are all university graduates. I am a forensic investigator by profession. I practice in forensics. I am studying law at the moment. I'm in my final year as a law student. So we are not, they call us, what did they call us? They call us one name, that we are useless people, we are jobless, we don't know what we are doing. That's why we are doing what we are doing. But that is not correct. So what we are asking the world is to listen to Biafran people, because we are dying every day. Biafra is the only place on this planet Earth that a governor of a state goes and drop a bomb in his own state and kill people. Because nobody hears it, nobody speaks for us. As long as the oil in Biafra land continue to flow, Biafrans can die for all they care. Now, if you will permit me, I want to touch again on the issue of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because I will not do justice if I finish here and I did not talk about my supreme leader, a man who has sacrificed everything, a man who have lost his parents, a man who escaped death on numerous occasions because he wants freedom for his people. He is still the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. All right, now you talk about a fair trial. I don't even think we have gotten to the point of a trial yet, because what happened is illegal. What we should be talking about now is taking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back to Kenya, where they took him from. Because as I'm talking to you now, in the eyes of the law, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in Kenya, because extraordinary rendition is a crime against humanity. Extraordinary rendition is a transfer without legal process of a detainee to the custody of a foreign government for purposes of detention and interrogation. The program was intended to protect America. It is not meant for Africa. That program came about during the 9/11. That's when they used this extraordinary rendition to torture prisoners and get them to talk. So why would they do that to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Now, in both instances, interrogation methods are employed that do not conform with federal and international recognized standards. This program is commonly known as extraordinary rendition. The Department of Justice arguments notwithstanding, the extraordinary rendition program is illegal. So if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was abducted illegally, why must he go to court? He cannot go to court because the process is flawed. In order for you to take an accused person to court, starting from his arrest, it has to be legal. Now, if you have broken that protocol, if you have broken international law and treaties and conventions in order to abduct a man, you have lost the jurisdiction to try him. So what we are saying, let's have a trial within trial and discuss about the abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because that's what you have to do. In court, that's what you call chain of evidence. If the way you went about obtaining your evidence is illegal, it will be inadmissible in a court of law. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have no case to answer. First of all, we have to deal with the case of process. The process leading to his abduction is illegal, and for that matter, he should be released unconditionally. And that is what we are saying. Even United Nations agrees with me about extraordinary rendition. They say that it is a crime against humanity, and it cannot stand. So Nigeria has broken all international law. Kenyan government has broken all international laws and treaty, and they should face the music, and they should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on technicality. So these are my submissions, Dr. Masanga.
Wow, thank you very much. I think in this one now I bring Kenyan here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mike. You have opened up something on international law, something that I started very many years ago. But thank you for reminding me on the question of rendition. And this one is very, very interesting. So the only man who can solve me this equation is Professor Nyari. Before I come to Dr. Jeff Kalui, Professor Nyari, technically, Nnamdi Kanu is in Kenya. You see how complicated the situation is? Are you hearing me?
I'm getting you. I'm waiting to respond.
You don't, because the way your face, the way you are showing me looks like you.
Yeah, I'm in the morning, Dr. Masanga.
Yes, I didn't know that bit.
Yeah.
Now I've just learned it. I am shivering because, not shivering, because the international law is very clear. So tell us, Prof.
Dr. Masanga, I want to invoke Articles 13, 14, 15 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. And I've said everyone has got a right to freedom of movement and residence within the border state of each state. Everyone has a right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. Article 14 says everyone has a right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of the prosecution generally arising from non-political crimes or from contrary to the purposes of the principle of the United Nations. Dr. Masanga, even if I don't go in and in, this is a violation. Kenya has violated the international law. And my brother, comrade, we need to have all the necessary details so that we work together, Dr. comrade, and as comrade, we know that an injury to one is injury to all. Africa will never be saved, my brother, until Biafra, Western Sahara, people are able to determine self-determination on how they want to govern themselves. And let me assure you, and I want to say this without fear of contradiction, when people want something, you cannot stop them. It is just a matter of time. They can go, they can kill. But we are focused, Dr. Masanga. And what we need to do, we need to condemn the government of Kenya. They need not to do that. And what they need to do, Dr. Masanga, they need to go to Biafra and see what is happening, the kind of brutal, the way people are being persecuted. You cannot allow someone to go and be persecuted. This is not a banana republic, Dr. Masanga. So this, we need to get the details, and what we need to do, we can use advocates. And what we have said technically, if the man was taken out, was moved from this country to his country to be tried, the law has been violated, the guy will need to be acquitted, and we need to go on international relations and international advocates until to have this anomaly corrected. Kenya on this one has squandered on this one. In fact, if it has happened in the watch of President Uhuru Mugai Kenyatta, it is unfortunate. And I want to believe it is Andras which can do that, because President Uhuru Mugai Kenyatta, Dr. Masanga, has stood with the people of Western Sahara. I don't see the situation in Western Sahara and the situation in Biafra is not different. People are asking for a referendum, Dr. Masanga. Is it a crime to ask people to come? They assemble themselves, they go to vote. What is it that they fear? What if the people of Biafra will go and forge that they want to be part of the Nigeria? Give people the opportunity, Dr. Masanga. That's how we can take the continent forward. My brother, our comrade has raised fundamental question, Dr. Masanga. Other citizens from other countries, be it Europe, be it America, or other presidents, they are given an opportunity to go for a referendum. Why is it that when African people are asking for a referendum, it becomes like it's as if it is a favor. We want the people of the Abasona, we want the people of Biafra, we want the people of Western Sahara, Dr. Masanga, and other people want to exercise the articles, the statutes of the international law, Dr. Masanga, be given that opportunity. And we are not going to sit. My brothers, comrades, let me just give you this. In 1922, at around the Central Police of Nairobi, Dr. Masanga, the whites who were colonial masters, Dr. Masanga, were arresting our people. Until one woman came and found a police trying to dress this one. She said, "Men, are there men here?" She went full strong and threw that man down, Dr. Masanga. Time for talking, Dr. Masanga, is over. We need to take action. I submit.
Oh my God. Today, the gloves seem to be off. Thank you very much, Professor Onyari. I come back to Daniel Wesonga, then come to Dr. Kalui. Daniel Wesonga, your view on the question of international law and international rendition. What does it say? I know of Geneva Convention, 1954 Geneva Convention, that gives any asylum, any refugee the right to exist as a human being under the condition on the state where he has landed. So this is where we are now. Daniel Wesonga.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Masanga David. And of course, now speaking after Professor Jared Onyari, I believe he has really exhausted the field. But I'll have this to add on what he has said, that the people of Biafra deserve to have today being a day where the world is commemorating a day where people have been kidnapped. It brings to our attention that this is a man who was actually allegedly kidnapped from Kenya together with the Nigerian authorities. And the questions we have to ask, was it actually really fair for this to happen to a man who is not maybe a terrorist? This was only a person who was advancing the agenda of his people, people who have been over the years killed and butchered, whose women have been defiled and their property destroyed by the successive regimes in Nigeria, and the latest being the Fulani, the dominated regime of President Buhari. And therefore, I think it is against the international law to abduct a man in such a way like they did to Comrade Nnamdi Kanu and take him to, don't know, a dungeon somewhere in Nigeria. They haven't communicated where he is, but I think it was against the international law. And of course, I believe later on the law will catch up with the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari, who are advancing these atrocities. Just the other day, they had a killer unit in their security teams, which was actually killing young men on the streets of Nigeria. And this actually raised concern amongst the international community. Why has the arrest and abduction of Nnamdi Kanu not raised any concern? Why is the international community not talking about this? Because if we allow these presidents to take root in Nigeria, soon enough we're going to be seeing every legitimate leader who tries to raise their voice against the leadership, the failed leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, being purged in a very serious way. Whereas we expect him to be not actually fighting the people of Biafra and the leadership of the Ipob people, but we expect Muhammadu Buhari to do and work on whatever promises he made to the people of Nigeria. I remember when he came into power, he promised the people of Nigeria to eradicate the problem of Boko Haram, who are actually destabilizing the country from the north within first 100 days. 4 years later, more than 4 years later, we do not have anything close to actually annihilating the Boko Haram menace. In fact, just a week ago, hundreds of school-going children were abducted by the same armed group. And that begs the question, is it that now the government, the Fulani government of President Muhammadu Buhari, Is it sympathizing with Boko Haram? Are they working with the northern Muslim groupings, which are actually inflicting pain and atrocities on the people of Nigeria? Why are they focusing more on the Igbo people who have been actually been fighting for their own self-determination, a cause which is actually recognized in the UN Convention? And therefore, I think, Dr. Masanga, for the government of Nigeria, it is out of priorities, it is out of order, and against the international laws when it does such, it makes such decisions of arresting a man, kidnapping him away from his family, away from his people. It is actually denying him a chance to represent the views that anyone across the globe will actually hold in the behest of his people. And therefore, I think we should all stand up and be able to advocate for the release, unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu. And these calls for the international community condemnation, we need as Africa to condemn such atrocities by the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. This is a failed government. It's a government which is being run like a mafia together with his Fulani herdsmen. We have seen him actually infiltrating the military and making sure that it is a lopsided military in that Northerners are more than any other people who are in Nigeria. And therefore, that tells you that this is a man who is not interested in actually assisting the people of Nigeria to arise from the ravages of economic banditry. But he's a man who is actually interested in consolidating power around himself and his kinsmen. And therefore, this is a dangerous man who should be kicked out of power in the soonest time possible. I submit, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. All of you have done rounds. Let me now see, as you prepare your parting shots, let me see Dr. Jeff Kalui. Dr. Jeff Kalui. Dr. Jeff Kalui. Well, Dr. Jeff Kalui is online, but he must be on attending to a class. Or let me come to our parting shots. Let me begin with Professor Gerard Onyari. I will end with our guest today, Michael I. Onocha. But let me begin with Professor Onyari. I can see Douglas Krimi connecting. In the last moment, he can't miss this Nigerian. Oh, Dr. Jeff Karui, I was going to go away. But let me now give you this chance. Rendition.
Yes.
Technically, my good brother from Nigeria, from Biafra, has just said, technically, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is still in Kenya. You know more about international law.
Yeah.
You are yourself, you have lived in the United States of America for more than 30 years.
Yes, about 30 years, yeah.
Yes, some of us have lived in the United Kingdom 37 years.
Okay.
And yeah, honestly, we have seen quite a lot of laws. It is very interesting. Tell us more about this.
And about this, which is specific this?
Well, about international law and the rendition. The taking of people by picking people from one area to another without the Buhari government actually kidnapped someone.
Yes. So we will definitely, and that first of all, let me just make first the first statement that it is not acceptable, and the government of Buhari cannot allow that to continue because it only fuels the continuous revenge from one group to the other. It is actually a large scale which can happen just from the way gangsters happen. When you do something or cut or rustlers, you get something from the cows, the next 10 days they come and steal them back, or they come and steal yours. That is very similar. When there's something called revenge. Revenge usually and it goes or rolls down to a full-scale civil war. And your statement about Nigeria can easily be lost is because of this kind of thing. Because there has to be the rule of the law where someone does something they are not supposed to do, they are supposed to be punished without fear or favor, unless you are supporting one group or you're supporting the one gang or the other. So it is definitely not acceptable. And Nigeria right now, where it is, there needs to be immediate referendum, like we have said. The African countries, and one of the doctors or a good guest of yours has very emotionally said that African governments cannot be allowed to reject referendums, because referendum is a way of reconciliation by itself. So in every other country that includes like that they have refused referendum or they have refused the will of the people, like Central African Republic, and I'm talking of even other countries like the Libya, where we take a good example. Now Libya as like small countries within its country, where they have been led to do whatever they want. If people came together and decided this is what we want in terms of referendum, and that is where everybody will go in terms of the will of the people, then all the people will go in one side, whether they agree or disagree. So referendum in Nigeria is first and the most fundamental thing that needs to be considered. And, you know, I am asking, I have not less than 10 or 15 students of mine who have gone back to be kings, members of parliament. If they are hearing this, they should take it on. And their professors recommended that a referendum is necessary in Nigeria. Now, one of the big problems, there are other problems apart from just general conflict, which are fueled by climate change. They are fueled by lack of grass and lack of, ownership of land. Land has been a part of Sahel problem. So those things needs to be factored. It's not just a conflict among tribes or among groups. It is a competition for resources. So that means there needs to be an economic approach as well to see how they resolve it. We have always lived with economies that we know it. If you are a herds person, you always become a herds person. There are alternatives to current African economic structures like herds, cows, grasslands. If there's no grass, would you just say you wouldn't do anything else? We need to start tilting to look at the root of the problem. What is causing all this competition of resources? Are there alternatives? So they need to look and build structures that, or mentality or mindset that it doesn't have to be the grasslands. It doesn't have to be just cow herding or tribal conflict. So referendum is very important, but also we need to do civic education about the right things. And especially when it comes to the youth, there is no way Africa, most of the population, maybe 80% is under 18 years old. You cannot, Africa will be run over by the current youth population because you can't stop this kind of population. So it needs to be stopped now. By 2030, Africa will be what we teach the young people right now, because they're gonna totally take over. The CSs or the cabinet secretaries, they will be 19, 20, 21 years old or 25 years old by 2030. That's the population they have, and that's what they got. So it shows the urgent or the sense of fierceness and urgency of now that is needed to resolve the matter of African. And I would like to see the African presidents heap up or pile on Nigeria, because Nigeria, when it goes wrong, a lot of things go wrong in Africa. So referendum, and that should be across the board in Africa as well. So maybe we need to revisit, even if it's not a referendum today for Kenya, maybe, referendum is not about just the elections of Kenya 2022. But if the referendum is right, it is right. It doesn't matter where it is done, how it is done, and when it is done. So the idea, no referendum now or the other day, should be, referendum should be allowed. So let's say it's not now, but then they can also restructure and say referendum, yes, but when? So that's my position in terms of letting the people, the will of the people, rule the day.
Thank you very much. Don't go away, but Douglas Creamy, the man who has fought together with us on our panel, day and night, to make sure that the referendum, Biafrans are given freedom. Douglas Creamy.
I have a meeting coming in 5 minutes, so I may have to leave, but then I will join if I finish that.
No, your parting shot.
Yeah, my parting shot is that I thank everybody. My name is Dr. Jeff Kaluyu. I am looking forward to engaging more. And are you standing for presidency in 2022 in Kenya? Yes or no? Affirmatively, yes, yes, and yes. So I'm looking forward for a fierce fight. And I feel in the entire field, I am the only candidate who can speak economics. I'm the person who can speak virus, post-economic, post-COVID economics. I have the economics, I have the health, and no one else can be able to speak that language. So I'm the most appropriate candidate for the Republic of Kenya as the president today. So I'm looking forward for the support and aggressive fight on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. To be 2022, at
100%.
At least we are not looking at a thief who has stolen. We are looking at a man who has never stolen anybody's penny. So thank you very much. But don't become like a Buhari when you take over.
No,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye, my good friend. You better advertise yourself on this television.
Thank you so much. I will. Yes.
Douglas Creamy. My friend, the ground is yours now. Douglas.
Thank you, doctor, and thank you for having me today. You may bring me up to speed as we conclude on.
It is the question of Biafra. Sahel region is burning. Nigeria is sinking. Biafra wants its independence. A referendum. Nnamdi Kanu, technically still in Kenya. Have you seen the summary of an editor?
Thank you, doctor. And the most important thing for us to realize is that the people of Biafra should be granted a referendum. They should be given an opportunity to be able to secede, an opportunity to be able to have their own republic. A time has come for us to be able to not continue the conversation. The federal government of Nigeria, as you know it, a time has come for the people, the indigenous peoples of Biafra, to be given an opportunity, a voice, so that they can be able to determine their own future. Dr. David Masanga. Remember, the people of the indigenous people of Biafra are not in the corrective system that we call the federal government of Nigeria by choice. They were forced by colonialists and other people who didn't want the indigenous people of Biafra to continue their own independence and their own country. They want to continue taking them for granted and also not listening to them. I think a time has also come for us as a Committee of Nations come together and they demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of indigenous peoples of Biafra. Again, Dr. David Masanga, we cannot be able to run a country like a cowshed the way Nigeria is being run today. Fulanians men have been running havoc into Nigeria. The school-going children and the women are being kidnapped daily. We cannot be able to run a country like that. Extremists are more powerful than governments in Western African countries, especially Nigeria. The Fulanians men are more powerful than Buhari. Buhari can only speak through his media heads, cannot be able to speak about the security issue in his own country. Buhari has refused to continue. General Muhammadu Buhari has refused to continue assuring Nigerians of peace because he himself has given up to fate and God to rescue his own country. As a commander-in-chief, we cannot wait for you in 2023 to retire. Please do the honorable thing, resign from government and go away, because at the end of the day, the people of Nigeria are tired. The people in the Sahel region continue suffering threats on their security, threat on their peace, because even Nigeria itself, that is supposed to be a leader in the Sahel region, they continue suffering under the evil hands of Boko Haram, Fulanians men, and these elements have been able to run to rend Nigeria ungovernable in terms of the economy, in terms of their social well-being, and in terms of their political landscape. Nigerian issue, Dr. Masanga, is a thorn in the flesh of the people of Nigeria and West African region, or the Sahel region at large, and with the people of Africa. We continue standing with the brothers and sisters in Nigeria, but President Muhammadu Buhari has continued disregarding the very rights of the people that have voted for him twice, and continues disregarding the very essence of the Nigerian constitution and the very essence of the Nigerian flag and soil. Why is Muhammadu Buhari taking Nigerians for granted? A time has come for us to be able to realize, Dr. David Masanga, that a time has come for us as the people of African descent to be able to speak in one voice.
Or you got cut off. You got cut off.
Speak on the issue in Nigeria, and especially the Sahel region that is
we are still waiting for you.
Thank you, Dr. Mia. My point was, in cognizance of the role that Nigeria continues to play in Community of Nations, we cannot be able to afford to lose Nigeria as we know it. And as the people of Africa, we continue standing with the people of Nigeria and continue standing with the very essence of our unity as brothers and sisters all over the world. We continue speaking for Nigeria, and we shall continue speaking for the peoples, indigenous peoples of Biafra, who would want to secede, who would want to be able to have their own republic, Dr. David Masanga. I do not understand why many years later the world does not listen to the cries of the people of indigenous peoples of Biafra, who should be listened to and whose voice should be amplified, even when we do not think that it is convenient for us to do so. We need to be able to stand with the indigenous peoples of Biafra, and we need to be able to tell each other the truth as countries that love Nigeria, as countries that love peace in Africa. We should be able to grant the indigenous people of Biafra a voice to be able to amplify themselves, to be able to speak to the world. The world needs to come to the rescue of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. Dr. David Masanga, it pains me to realize that only a handful of people, media stations like yourself, who have given space to the indigenous people of Biafra to be able to hire their own issues and grievances. People and also media houses across Africa, Dr. David Masanga, continue hiding away from the issues that we continue facing from the indigenous people of Biafra. These are people who have continued to suffer under the FINRO arrangement that is in Nigeria today. We need to be able to restructure, and we need to give them a voice. It also saddens my heart to realize that if a person like Dr. David Masanga gives an opportunity to Biafrans to be able to speak, people that do not even pay him, they continue insulting and also continue thinking that Dr. David Masanga owns the whole world. He only owns media stations that have given them a space and a voice. And I would also ask the people of Biafra to respect Dr. David Masanga and his media houses. He has given you a voice in London. He has given you a voice in Germany. He's given you a voice across the nations of the world, and especially here at Punchline Africa. He has given you a voice to amplify your independence, to amplify a referendum, so that you can be able to determine your own future. You should be able to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and Dr. David Masanga the respect that he deserves. When you continue asking Dr. David Masanga to intervene on your affairs, the only thing he can do is to give you a voice, to help you and also bring us on board so that we can help you speak for yourselves, so that you can be able to grow and also have an opportunity to be able to be granted your own freedom and your own independence as the people, indigenous peoples of Biafra. There's nothing more Dr. David Masanga can do. He has invested millions of dollars to help his media stations run and also bring you to speed so that the world can be able to see what is happening in Nigeria. We need to be able to tell the world the truth, that Dr. David Masanga does not owe you anything else. He has done anything humanly possible. He has spoken, given his voice over the same. You can be able to go back to history, and history is going to be kind to him and his organizations because he has been able to give you a voice. And we continue on the same vein like Dr. David Masanga, that you, the indigenous people of Biafra, should be granted a referendum. And if it is not a referendum, you secede completely from the federal arrangement of Nigeria that is there today. There should be a restructuring in Nigeria so that the people, indigenous peoples of Biafra, can have their own voice and they can be able to speak in unison and be able to build their own Biafra republic. Thank you, Dr. David Masanga, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much, Douglas, with those compliments. Thank you very much for saying so. We have done our best and continue to do our best. 6 years ago, I started this matter defending the Biafran people. I have never asked anybody in Biafra to come to my aid or to pay even 1 inch, 1 penny of airtime. I still continue to do so until I keep quiet when God calls me. But I will not surrender to Buhari's machinations and the crude methods of dealing with opposition with a country that is collapsing. I will not. As an African scholar, I will speak my mind out and stand for the truth. It will set me free one day. Professor Nyari, just a comment.
Dr. Masanga, as I've said that Africa has got work to be done. We can't run away from it. I've quickly gone through what our comrade Onuja was trying to say, Mike. And I found to say that Nnamdi Kanu, his rights have been violated. Kenya is a signatory and has ratified African Charter. Nigeria has done the same. I'm happy that Kanu has advised his lawyers are working on it. So what we need to do is that Dr. Masanga, we need to team up. We can't allow these African dictators, Dr. Masanga, to take Africa as if they own Africa. They cannot, and I want to thank you sincerely that you have done Africa great because, Dr. Masanga, you have given us a voice. We are speaking things as they are. We can't allow the continent of Africa, Dr. Masanga, when I talk what African leaders have done to African people. Dr. Masanga, we cannot go to the West with all our education, Dr. Masanga, to be watchmen when Africa has got all the resources, which is enough for all of us. We are not going to allow Buhari and his cohort, Dr. Masanga. On this one, we have to follow to the logical conclusion, and this work for in the continent of Africa must be done. I want to thank our fellow panelists. Thank you. Thank our comrade Douglas, Daniel. The continent of Africa was rescued by the young people. So when we are in the same hands of Dr. Masanga, comrades, we are not going to ever neither to look back, but to soldier on. People who change their countries, who change their continents, who are not the mighty people, they are just individuals. Dr. Masanga, let us continue having this stone which has started roaring. It will continue gathering the momentum. And I know God is with us. We are going to succeed. We are going to succeed. Africa is rising. It will rise again and we'll make it. The spirit is there, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much, Professor Gerard Onyari, a conflict resolution mediator, speaker, inspirational speaker, a man who says it as it is, a man who studied international law, international mechanisms. Thank you very much. Daniel Wesonga, just 1 minute, under 1 minute, your parting shot. Then I come to our guest of tonight.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Masanga David. And of course, our clarion call and our banner still remains that President Muhammadu Buhari should exit power and give the rest of Nigeria, not only the Igbo people, the Biafrans, the freedom to govern their destiny, but the entire Nigeria, because his leadership has failed the people of Nigeria big time. And to the people of Biafra, I say unto them that aluta continua. We have to continue with the struggle, even in the absence of the leader, Nnamdi Kanu. They have to keep up the spirit. In the end, I believe salvation shall be able to come through their own struggle. It has been a very, very long struggle, and therefore there's no any point of backing out at this particular time. And to the international community, the African Union, and all the African member states and leaders, it is a time we stood up and raised our voices to ensure that the Nigerian regime releases the Biafran leader Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally, so that he can continue with whatever they are doing. They can always negotiate. We always have a very, very good platform which can be set so that they can be able to talk and be able to solve this kind of stalemate. But by arresting him and kidnapping him, they are only deteriorating the already destroyed relations between the Igbo people and the leadership of President Buhari. I submit.
Thank you very much, Daniel Sean Wesonga. World watches while Biafra, the Biafrans are being killed. The world watches, the AU is watching the slaughter in Enugu, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Lagos, all the southeastern states. There is bloodshed. My brother Mike Onocha from Dubai, under 2 to 3 minutes, bring us the message we should take to the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. First of all, I want to thank you so much. You are 1 in a million for giving us this platform to air our view. I see a similarity between you and our leader, Mazi Kanu. Mazi Kanu does not fight for anybody, anyone. That is one thing about, and you and him have the same similarity. Masanga, Biafrans will never forget. We don't forget those who help us when we are in need. All right, now my parting shot. I want to re-emphasize and I want to maintain, I want to reiterate that technically Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in Kenya. He is not in Nigeria. And you know what that means. It means that Nigeria has lost jurisdiction to try Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I believe in the rule of law. As a legal student, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has to go to the federal court Abuja to be tried, then that is a violation of his fundamental human rights. And we cannot allow that to happen. We must have what you call trial within trial. In order for us to do what? To talk about this extraordinary rendition, to talk about this violation of his right, because extraordinary rendition violates the Constitution and federal law. Its very purpose is to send people for interrogation to places where in the United States, the rule of law does not apply. And Nigeria, the rule of law does not apply. Because now, Nigeria and Britain, they have a treaty, extradition treaty. So what we are saying is, take Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back to Kenya. Let Kenya apologize and then send him back to the United Kingdom. Then Nigeria can now apply for extradition. Then they will go to court in the United Kingdom. If Nigeria make their case and they win, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be extradited back to Nigeria to stand whatever trial they want him to. That is called rule of law. This is not a Janjaweed Dangaroo court. we must follow the rule of law. So that is what I am maintaining, and that is what I am still saying, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be taken back, of course, to Kenya, and from Kenya to United Kingdom, because Nigeria does not have jurisdiction. For you to try a case, you must have a jurisdiction. And if you don't have jurisdiction, if you've lost the jurisdiction, then you might as well forget about it. Now, people might hear me talking about Kenya. They might say, why are you mentioning Kenya? Now, in law, there is what we call conditio sine qua non. Now, what is conditio sine qua non? Conditio sine qua non is very simple. It means that without which not, conditio sine qua non, if Kenya did not compromise with Nigeria, this wouldn't have happened. That is why we keep on mentioning Kenya. They're more like an accomplice, and they need to work hard in order for them to clean their name. Because I pity the Kenyan people. They don't want this. This is not the government they voted for. So you cannot drag the good name of the Kenyan people into mud by committing such heinous crime against humanity. Now, finally, before I go, during the Civil War, there was economic blockade. There was media blockade on Biafra, and people were slaughtered in millions, and Britain was enjoying. Now, the difference now is this. We have youth of Biafra who will never give up. Those people we are fighting with, they are old men, and they will pass away very soon, and the youth will continue, and they will not stop until Biafra is restored. We will not stop until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is acquitted unconditionally, because he is still in Kenya. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga, for this great opportunity and privilege. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike Onocha. Always keep a watch. Take our programs further. We are part and parcel of a struggle that we yearn that one day, and one day alone, the people of Biafra will get the freedom they yearn for. The people of Biafra will be free, will be set free from the hands of Buhari, the regime that has gone down in history as a butcher regime, the butcher of Abuja. Buhari must be brought to accountability. If Africa is to move forward, why should we allow a nation of 250 million people to sink and sink and sink and sink every day? We see that happening. One of the points that you raised that shook me up to now is you said Nigeria is a kidnapping market is very lucrative in Nigeria. Kidnapping market is a market where people are kidnapping others for money. Today is a day for missing people. People who have missed worldwide. Some people wake up of their houses and they don't come back for years and years and years and forever. And when you say Nigeria is a lucrative place for kidnapping, you have even sent my blood very far. I don't know what we can say here, but it is very terrible. If this is the type of nation with 7 terrorist groups, 7 terrorist groups from Jania, Iswa, Isagies, AISGS, or Al-Qaeda Maghreb, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ESN, all this. My God, may someone come up and help Africa. And unfortunately, the African Union is gone. The Commonwealth will hold the Commonwealth Summit in London. Brother, just read my lips. I will be there. I'm a veteran of Commonwealth. I'm a member, senior member of the Commonwealth Journalists Association. whole Commonwealth 54 countries. My identity's credentials are with me. I enter any conference on planet Earth as long as it is in Britain. I believe Buhari will come and I will face Buhari in that conference. Let him be prepared to answer my questions. Why he has allowed Nigeria to fall, to sink, to be mutilated, taken, eaten by terrorists. Why? Why he has killed many Biafrans. For every struggle there is hope. And for every hope there is always success. If you have hope, you will succeed. Brother Mike, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Success will knock on the door. You can imagine some of us have fought for 37 years. But still, the things that we said are the things that the new people who are coming in the struggle, what they are saying, than which they supported themselves. Now they turn around and they say, oh, Matanga said was right. But here we are, find ourselves at the cul-de-sac, what the French call a cul-de-sac. The world seems to come to a halt. Africa needs 400 million doses. We are still talking of elections. We need 400 million doses, Mr. Kirimi. But we are still talking of grabbing power in 2022 in Kenya, when we have not even vaccinated more than 2 million people fully. Are we mad? What bewitched Africa? Thank you very much. Chinawa Achebe, in his book, The Things Fall Apart, which was a song I like so much, on page 53, he said, perhaps you have been away for too long. Obierika was telling Okonko that perhaps you have been away for too long. The Umofia clan has changed. The white man has brought a bicycle that drinks milk. And guess what followed the sentence, Kirimi? Things have fallen apart. On that note, I end it that way. I know, Daniel, you are smiling behind there, and Kirimi, look at that page. I've never forgotten. You know, I did my O-levels in 1974. Can you believe that? I believe none of you here were born yet. 1994. Douglas. And the rest. I read that book and I passed English literature with a distinction #2. And it was one of the most interesting books that I wanted to have. Even today in my home in London, I have 2 books, two copies. Somebody snatched one, but I kept that one. I read in 19 because there have been new versions. But Chinawa Achebe said, things have fallen apart. A bicycle drinks milk, white milk. You know what white milk was? Kirimi, do you know what white milk was? White milk is oil. If you mix oil with, if the car bursts the gasket and the water goes into the oil engine, what comes out is white. So when this oil was put on the chain of the bicycle and the water was poured on it, something white came out. And then Obierika said, oh no, you have been away for too long, my brother Okonko. Perhaps go slowly. Things have changed in the Mafia clan. Things have really changed in Nigeria. Buhari has turned on eating his own people, and he kills them as we speak now. More are being shot tonight as we speak. The world must turn its attention on these heinous crimes that are being committed across in the Sahara region. Thank you very much, all of you. God bless you. God give you guidance. This station is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao. Ciao.